Kyle Busch is closing in.
Oh, he's in the fence.
White flag is out.
Oh,
One
no.
lap to go. And here comes the 98 in the outside
How
lane.
about
Tap
that?
in the wall. Chase Briscoe trying to hold off Kyle Busch. Briscoe in the high lane. Back to the start-finish line at Darlington. It's Chase Briscoe who wins it. What a finish.
That just doesn't happen, guys. Great job, Chase Briscoe.
Safe to say, Clint and I got a little excited at Darlington on Thursday. Perhaps more of the same here tonight. Chase Briscoe has all the momentum. Here he is moments ago with Matt Yoakum.
Adam, you can throw in Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, Darrell Waltrip, just some of the legendary names that reached out to Chase Briscoe over this emotional week. And Chase, have you had a chance to finally exhale and reflect on the win that was at Darlington?
Yeah, I mean, to a certain extent. Obviously, you know, me and my wife are still going through a lot of things, but I think that definitely, you know, got a lot off of our shoulders, you know, kind of turned our spirits around. So it's slowly sinking in more and more. You know, I think, it's just different. I can't even remember who I was talking to. You don't celebrate like a win. It just, because there was obviously so much going on. But yeah, I think, you know, it's definitely good confidence-wise and everything for getting back in the race car, and hopefully we can do the same tonight.
You talk about confidence, but also pressure during the offseason. You said 8 to 10 wins. That's what you'll need to keep this ride. You've won 2 of the first 5. Are you on the Chase Briscoe pace?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good start for sure. You know, nobody told me that I needed to win 8 to 10. That was just kind of personally what I felt like, you know, I was capable of and I needed to do. So it's definitely a good start to win 8 to 10. You got to win early, and we've been fortunate to do that, and hopefully we can get number 3 tonight. Obviously, a really big race for our partners, highpoint.com. They got an office literally in Ballantyne, and then the Ford Performance Racing School is based at Charlotte Motor Speedway. So it's a big race for us as a company and as a team. So hopefully we can do that tonight.
And Adam, he rolls off from row 4.
Thanks, Matt. 2 words, Clint. Big Mo for Chase.
Absolutely. Nothing better than momentum. But for me personally, that was by far the most fun I've ever had broadcasting a race. That race was awesome. You hear him say 8 to 10 wins. He doesn't need that. You win races like you did last weekend, Chase Briscoe, you'll be just fine.
Now, I got excited hearing you two call that, but listen, we've seen it happen in every sport. When people are faced with adversity, they step up, they find another gear, and he found that last week.
It's about time, guys. Let's go trackside and get the command to fire engines at Charlotte.
Hi, I'm Chad McKee. For 16 years, I served on the front lines in the U.S. Army Infantry. Today, I serve on the front lines at St. Luke's Hospital in Columbus, North Carolina, in memory of all those who paid the ultimate sacrifice for our great nation, and on behalf of all essential healthcare workers in North Carolina. Drivers, start your engines!
So many heroes to thank on this Memorial Day. Tributes all around the country as we recognize those that made the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom so we can go racing tonight.
Gotta stay focused on the goal, and sometimes stay far off. It's such a lonely road. You gotta be mentally tough to be in the fight, and no matter what, see it through to the finish line. In the end, I'm a triumph, no defeat. Stronger. Never let them see you sweat. You gotta be stronger. You gotta be stronger.
Fox NASCAR is in Concord, North Carolina. Charlotte Motor Speedway tonight hosting the NASCAR Xfinity Series. It's their 6th race of 2020. And rolling off in the 6th position is Austin Cendrick. He's been rolling along so far this season. Let's go from the driver's seat with driver 22.
Hey, Austin Cendrick's the boys over here in the studio booth. Man, solid week last week. 4th place finish at Darlington. No practice here at right here in the backyard at Charlotte Motor Speedway. I think my biggest question is, I've been watching you race all season long with Ross Chastain. He's on the pole. How many laps is it going to take you to get up there and be battling it out with him again this week?
Well, Boyer, hopefully not too long, but we got 200 some laps in this race, and I'd like to be at the front of it by the end of it. Snap-on Ford Mustang.
All right, so you're on the outside. Last night, before I had my mishap, it seemed like that was good as you went through 1 and 2, but then you needed to be navigating down to the bottom of 3 and 4. Is that your plan, or what do you got going on here?
Yeah, that's what it seems like. I definitely hope this outside lane starts rolling on the start. Be interesting to see which lane Ross chooses. But yeah, I think everyone's really interested to see how much this grip stuff that I'm in right now comes in. I think that'll be a huge player in tonight's race.
All right, man, good luck. Your hot rod looks mean tonight, so she looked good up in front. Let's do it.
Sir, sounds good.
Cendrick talked about lane selection. If Chastain goes outside, the only driver between Cendrick and Chastain would be Justin Allgaier at the start. I'm just saying.
I tell you, those two have been, it's like they have a magnet for one another. They have been battling it out this year. It didn't matter where it is.
Let's hear one more time from Matt Yoakum before we go green. What's happening, Matt?
Adam Brandon Jones told me he's calling tonight round 2 of no practice or qualifying before the race, and he has a much better idea of what to expect. At Darlington, he thought drivers would be more conservative at the beginning, and it was actually polar opposite. They were aggressive, so he's going to up the aggression level tonight. Spent a lot of time in the simulator preparing for tonight. He has an ARCA win here at Charlotte. He sure would love to get a Xfinity win here tonight.
And Matt, his first career Xfinity win last fall on the 1.5 miles at Kansas. You see all the cars coming down pit road. This is an opportunity for them to set their pit road speed. Let's go as we see it. Keys to tonight's race for Jamie and Clint. What do you guys think?
Well, Clint, I got to be honest. Based on knowing you for 15 years and how hard you hit your head last night, I'm a little nervous that I'm thinking the same way as you. But look, here's the deal. Kyle Busch is the guy to beat at all these Xfinity races. And when you look at the season, Brandon Jones was able to beat him at Phoenix, and then that amazing race last weekend with Chase Briscoe. So look, the NASCAR Xfinity Series regulars have been, they've been really good this year.
Absolutely. 7 different racers, 7 different winners at this racetrack at Charlotte. But who's going to beat Kyle Busch? Last week, Chase Briscoe steps up, is the man at Darlington. What an awesome show for him, his crew, everybody. Pit crew, man. They beat him out of pit road, put him in that position. He took care of business from there. Looking forward to tonight. No practice. No practice, Jamie. These boys are going to go for it. We're going to line them up just like we did last night. Didn't work out very well for me. Hopefully it works out a little better for these boys tonight.
Yeah, I think last week was probably the test for the no practice. I think coming to Charlotte is certainly a little easier track, but figuring out if you can get in that traction compound, that's going to be key.
I mean, you guys have talked about this. Anytime we go to an Xfinity race, you got to beat Kyle Busch if he's in the field. What does it feel like if you beat Kyle?
Well, I think we saw it. The Chase Briscoe, the look on his face. I mean, what he did, the week that he had. I was so excited for Chase Briscoe when that thing got over with last week because I knew the week he was fixing to have the phone calls and everybody attaboying him. He deserved it, man. What an awesome win.
Here's some young drivers talking about that euphoric feeling when you top Kyle.
Typically when Kyle's in the field, obviously he's extremely talented to begin with, and he's in a great equipment. So he's going to be hard to beat, whatever the circumstances are.
You beat him, it's so rewarding because it shows that you were putting in work and it's getting yourself to that level.
When you can, people say, oh, he's in the race, he's just going to walk away and win the thing. But I don't think us young guys are going to let that happen. We're going to give up the fight for sure.
Saw Noah Gragson there. He used to drive for Kyle in the Gander truck, so he'll be racing at Charlotte tomorrow night. So he knows maybe some of those inside secrets. Kyle tonight starting in the 18th position. Here's our race analysis. 200 laps. That's 300 miles on the 1.5 miles at Charlotte Motor Speedway. The stage is fairly short at 45 laps apiece, the first 2. Then a 110-lap run to the checkers. We will get a competition caution at lap 20. That's a normal competition caution, not like what we saw last week down at Darlington. And pacing the field tonight, the all-new Toyota GR Supra. And I notice Ross Chastain doesn't take the outside, and I'm guessing that's because his teammate Justin Haley is in the 3rd position. Random draw is how we start the field tonight.
Certainly is, and that's a huge opportunity. You have to look at that. You have to pay attention. We saw it last week at Darlington, Adam. You know, what's behind you? It's almost like restrictor plate racing anymore. What's behind you is almost as important as what's in front of you. These restarts, that PJ1, the traction compound on the outside, it wasn't reapplied for this race tonight. That's going to be interesting for me. As we saw that race progress, unfortunately, I watched this race progress last night, and I even talked to Brad Keselowski, the winner. I asked him, what was that like as the race progressed? Did it get better? Did it enable you to do that? And he said yes. So it's going to be interesting. Keep an eye on that.
How about a little Monday night NASCAR? We're in prime time on Memorial Day. It's the NASCAR Xfinity Series from Charlotte. Here we go.
Chastain, he got that big jump, but his teammate wasn't on him very well. The outside line was connected, kind of broke him up.
Ross Chastain wanted help from his teammate until he got clear, and then he's like, I'm not really worried about my teammate at this point. Yeah.
I'm all good on my own, thank you very much. Haley up to 2nd, side by side for 3rd. Another teammate battle, that black 18, Riley Herbst. The bright yellow 19 is Brandon Jones.
You got to remember, that's the first time those guys sailed these cars off in there, wide open, mind you, hoping this thing will stick. And some of them it does, and some of them it won't. Cannot wait. Some of them are going to be begging to get to this caution right here to make some adjustments. You see some cars wiggling around right there, some tire smoke already. These are all things that are just kind of a guesstimate right now for a lot of teams.
The no practice, no qualifying thing, though, that's got to be tough, especially for the young drivers, Jamie.
Yeah, I mean, look, when we talk about with the Cup guys, you think of the amount of laps that the Cup regulars have run, especially at a place like Charlotte. I don't think it's as big of a deal. For some of these guys, I mean, they've never run an Xfinity race at Charlotte. Maybe they've run a truck race here, but that's a big deal. You're not only trying to fill your car out, but you're also trying to learn a racetrack.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing there, even with us, it's your setups, right? It's how well the guys nailed it. I mean, we know it. The splitters have to be right down on the racetrack. You got to push the envelope there, and if you don't, you're going to be off on a long run. Air pressures and things like that. Yes, these teams learn from what they saw last night, listening to their teams. But as Jamie just alluded to, some of these teams don't have those resources. Some of these teams don't have a Cup operation to lean on for, you know, adjustments. What worked for you guys last night? Was it wedge in? Was it wedge out? Was it, you know, whatever the case may be? They don't have that luxury.
You know, Adam, we're sitting here looking at Riley Herbst, and when we talked to him earlier this week,
and we get a caution early. That's the 52, Cody Vanderwall.
He's caught the wall with the right rear already.
Driving for Jimmy Means, making his 3rd career start tonight, 19-year-old out of Colorado. He was running in the 35th position. Race number 6 of the year is underway at Charlotte. We're 5 laps in, and Ross Chastain has led them all. The Honor and Remember flag is a national symbol of remembrance, recognizing the ultimate sacrifice of our military fallen heroes and their Gold Star families. From all conflicts and all branches of service. If you want to learn more, visit honorandremember.org or text the word flag to 71777. And as we've done for over a decade at Fox Sports, down at the bottom of your screen, you will see a ticker commemorating those who we've lost serving our country in the past year. NASCAR Xfinity Series, 7 laps in at Charlotte. An early caution. We'll get another caution in 13 laps. It'll be a competition caution as these teams had no practice or qualifying. And we return to the green flag with Ross Chastain in the 10 car as the race leader. He takes the outside lane.
Flag, all rolling there. At the line now.
It's interesting that he chose the outside this time instead of the inside when he was able to get the lead, but he must just be trying to learn for later in the race.
See that car wiggling on the outside up there in that traction compound. I mean, that's a temperature sensitive thing. It has to get some temperature built into it before the grip starts to come up. That was something for me that was pretty sketchy, Jamie. It caught me off guard right off the bat in the race last night.
Look at all this youth, though, up there in the top 5, just adapting to unknown circumstances, Jamie.
Yeah, and look, like we were saying before the caution came out, we talked to Riley Earps and asked him, how do you prepare for a track that you haven't run at that much? And I asked him about going to the simulator, and I thought he was going to bite on that. He's a young guy, and I feel like the young guys really embraced that. But he didn't seem to have a lot of faith in that. He's like, there's not really anything like being in the car. And Clint, I think that's exactly how you and I feel.
Oh, absolutely. You're watching Kyle Busch here. I mean, we talk about it. We know he's the guy to watch, right? He's going to be the one that's going to be making the moves the most, especially right now. Just think about the experience that he has on those guys. Obviously, no matter what, but the experience just in the fact that we're racing so much right now, racing on Sundays, Wednesdays. He's in all of these races, right? Whether it's Cup, Xfinity, wherever, he's been on the racetrack.
And you talk about his teammate, Riley Herbst, who's running in the 3rd position. Good start for the kid out of Las Vegas, Matt.
A lot of confidence coming in here, Adam. Dave Rogers' crew chief brought back the Fontana car, showed impressive speed out west, doing it again here. Riley says the car took off great, doesn't need it to rotate anymore down in turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, you mentioned that race in California. It was kind of the coming out party for the young drivers at Joe Gibbs Racing. Harrison Burton wins. Herbst was 2nd. They did have a ton of speed. If one of them were to win tonight, they're going to have to beat Kyle Busch, I think. Started 18th, already up inside the top 10. He is 7th, could be top 5 by the competition caution.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a given. Like I said, the experience factor there, his experience on the racetrack last night, 600 miles for crying out loud. But going back to Riley, it's funny you heard him say, I don't need it to rotate anymore. Did you see how good that car was rotating right there, Jamie?
He was well below the line. He did not need any more turn in his car.
I like that pairing, though, because you got a young driver with a veteran crew chief in Dave Rogers, who has won so many races.
Yeah, and Riley told us, and I thought this was funny, Adam, he said that Kyle Busch as a teammate was much different than Kyle Busch as a truck owner.
There you go. Let's go back to Matt.
3rd at Darlington for the 7 of Justin Allgaier, but concern early on. He said back on lap 3 that there's static on his radio. He's having a hard time hearing crew chief Jason Burdett. The balance not bad. Now he says that his gauges are going somewhat haywire. They keep resetting on him.
Yeah, Allgaier's 11th. Look who's in front of him in the top 10, the 6 of B.J. McLeod. He is a consistent overachiever driving that 6 for JD Motorsports.
Yeah, I was watching him on that initial start of the race. He was on the outside and making a lot of hay up there right off the bat. Again, experience last night. That was one guy that I saw on the racetrack a lot before I had my problem. That was something that he felt comfortable doing, right? These other kids are trying to figure it out. They've never even made a lap on this racetrack. That experience cannot be forgotten.
I tell you, we're seeing a lot of guys in the traction compound early, which I think is going to be a good sign for having 2 wide racing tonight.
When we left you in Darlington, the storyline was Kyle Busch and Chase Briscoe. Here we are at Charlotte, 98-54, going against one another again.
And just like you said, Jamie, up in that VHC, the traction compound, I got to get it.
What is it called?
Where's the dollar?
Traction compound. Everybody has
traction compound.
I got to get my wallet out. It's out of my wallet. But definitely the traction compound, and I like that. We need that. That traction compound enables a car to find real estate to move around and pass that car in front of them.
Yeah, I'm going to say Chase probably isn't going to race him quite as hard as he did those last couple of laps at Darlington this early in the race, especially knowing that we're going to have a caution here soon.
But this is the way, Jamie. It's been a couple years, man. This is the new way of racing. If you can see, it is extremely hard to pass. You've got to keep guys behind you, and especially guys like Kyle Busch. Chase Briscoe's elbows up. He took his line away in 1 and 2 and then went down low in 3 and 4 there and drove back away from him. That's something that you're going to see. As you approach cars in front of you, you get tight. You get that aero push. You get that aero loose. It takes aero off of your car if there's somebody right directly in front of you, and that's what you saw right there. As soon as he got back, in clean air, he drove back off from him.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like the guys, and even last night it was this way, that turns 1 and 2, the traction compound seems to work a little better. 3 and 4, everybody struggled a little bit with it, and you see Kyle Busch, all those guys going right back down to the bottom.
It seems to be rougher in 3 and 4 when you run up there. 1 and 2, it's pretty smooth, and as close as we run to these cars to the track, it seems to like that.
How low is too low? Noah Gregson in the 9, painting the line.
right there. You asked the question, that's too low. But honestly, that's how you hook it, man. You hook that bottom, and if your car's rotating good and making some good grip and it has a good balance on it, you know, Jamie, as well as I do, you hook that baby.
Oh, yeah. You're like, I got him.
Yeah,
I got him.
right.
Here we go.
And that's what you have to do. If that car's on the outside of you, you've got to drive it off in there, which is you don't want to do. You want that air on your outside. You don't want that car right down on your door. But that guy trying to pass you, that's exactly where he is.
I think Noah Gragson, though, has matured a lot. I said it Thursday, and I just like his growth, moving up from Gander Trucks, a rookie last year with Junior Motorsports, and working with Dave Ellens, who, as we know, is one of the best in the box, already a couple of championships on his resume as a signal caller. And this for second. Chase Briscoe in the blue and white 98. You're on board here with Justin Haley. It's the leaf filter on board. Coming up on the competition caution, what do you have, Matt?
And Chase Briscoe loves to run the wall, loves that high side. But Timmy Fidua, great observation by Jamie Mack last night. It just seemed like it took a while for the traction compound to come in down in turns 3 and 4. That's what Timmy told Chase. Right now, he's showing much more speed right where he is now on the bottom.
And you know, all these guys now, 20 laps in, have built that notebook. You got a better feel for where you're at from a setup standpoint. You can make the adjustments under the competition caution and be ready to run through the final portion of this race. Lead is Ross Chastain. His teammate is Justin Haley. And the last time we were at Charlotte Motor Speedway on the Roval, it was the 10 car for Colleague who won. A.J. Allmendinger driving it on that Saturday afternoon. And here's the competition caution. It's our second yellow of the evening.
And most of the guys, you know, some guys out here are just praying for that, just barely holding on, doing everything they could do to keep that car underneath of them, getting to this competition caution.
You know, the one thing these guys have going for them compared to Darlington or even compared to last night is that the track had a little bit of rubber on it, so it's probably not going to go through quite as big of a transition. I would say right now the crew chiefs are asking them, you know, what do you need to run in the traction compound? Because they know at some point in the race you're going to have your car that can work both on the bottom and also in the traction compound.
Traction compound, what a difference a night makes. I mean, watch that race last night, as I did on the couch. At the end of that thing, they were just barely in it, flirting with it, kind of straddling it, you know what I mean? In 1 and 2, really not so much in 3 and 4. These guys are in it already. I think it's going to be a big story tonight.
Chastain started on the pole. He's led every lap. In fact, he's led more laps tonight than he had in the first 5 races combined. I guess you could say track position, clean air, it is king. And now our Ford performance. Track facts, first Ford to win in an Xfinity race at Charlotte. Can it be? Fox's own Jeff Gordon swept the races back in 1992. 21 wins by Ford at Charlotte. They've won 3 of the last 5, all for Team Penske by 3 different drivers.
Well, not quite open yet.
Thought it was open? No, I think it's not.
I thought for a minute it was a shot fake and they weren't going to come. Are they playing strategy here?
Maybe they're not going to pit.
Wow.
How about that?
Well,
learned something from the ending of last night, huh?
Well, I mean, you get 5 sets of tires. Maybe you want to save those, and you certainly have enough fuel to make it to the end of stage 1. We'll follow up on the strategy. Ross Chastain leading under the caution. Chevy is committed to getting you back on the open road with confidence and peace of mind. Visit ChevyCares.com to learn more. And the Chevy bunch feeling good here tonight at Charlotte Motor Speedway. It's the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Ross Chastain in his Chevrolet started up front. He's led every lap so far. His teammate Justin Haley is second as we prepare for the restart here. And guys, just reflect back. A number of drivers electing to stay out under this competition caution. We were caught off guard.
I think you just look at the lap times, the fall off or lack thereof. Obviously going to the end of the stage here is not a problem for some of these teams. Saving those tires, staying up front in that clean air. We learned how important that was. And these decisions, Jamie, you alluded to it earlier in the show, decisions, making those at the right time could be the difference in winning and losing, and I think you saw one of those decisions right there.
Yeah, and they only got to go 20 laps, and I think that's easy to say, but when you're sitting in the car, Clint, that's a long time at Charlotte, isn't it?
Yeah, but not when you're up front. It is when you're running 10th and you can't make a pass on somebody, you're already starting to get tight, arrow, loose or whatever the case may be. I mean, I think that's the right call.
Top 15 cars stayed out. A couple of guys speeding. Ryan Sieg, Joe Graff Jr. And we return to the green flag as we complete lap 25.
Now, Haley got a really good start right there. Looks like Briscoe got on his bumper and was able to push him a little bit. It'll be interesting. If he can keep it even to turn 3, I lost a little bit of momentum there on the exit 2.
Spoke too soon.
That didn't last long.
Let it breathe, Jamie. That's like me on the final lap.
Let it breathe.
Make no mistake, you had Kyle Busch behind Ross Chastain pushing him on that restart too. I mean, that's a huge game changer right there.
If you're a college football fan and tonight you're tuned into NASCAR for the first time, you might root for Kyle Busch, not just because he's the all-time wins leader and he might win this thing, but he's got the App State Mountaineer sponsoring his race car. How cool is that from up in Boone, North Carolina?
Car looks tough too. I kind of dig it.
Got a great football program.
Always a lot of fun riding up through there on the way to Bristol.
Nice battle here. Noah Gragson in the 9. Young driver out of Las Vegas to the inside of Chase Briscoe in the 98. Our most recent winner. He's won twice this year, in fact.
You see Ross Chastain slide up in front of Kyle Busch, who's trying to work in that traction compound. It'd be interesting. I think those guys are going to want to be to the bottom of 3 and 4, but clearly if Ross goes to the bottom, Kyle's going to try to work that outside.
That's a difficult thing about the traction compound. It being on the outside like that, yes.
Ooh, got a smoker.
That's not good.
Man, oh, what a rough start.
Terrible day.
Yeah, twice now we've had a caution courtesy of Cody Vanderwall. Scuffed up the right side there a little bit.
Looks like this problem's under the hood this time.
Yeah. A lot of stop and go in this race. Already our third caution. We know we're going to get another one in 15 laps at the end of the stage.
Decisions.
Oh, you definitely, if you stayed out before, you got to stay out here, right? And I'm guessing.
We need Larry Mack.
But
how do we do these Xfinity races without Larry Mack? Where is he?
I think the advantage, though, here comes for those guys that pitted midway through at the competition caution, because they undoubtedly will stay out and they'll be able to make it to the end of stage 2 when we get to the end of this opening stage, and they'll be okay on fuel. They're establishing track position. What's the latest on Allgaier, Matt?
Well, here's the good news. He's running in the 10th position. Here's the bad news. Under that last caution, he turned the main power switch off trying to reset the electrical system in the car, and it did not. The gauges are still all over the map, and he said it's going to be a challenge trying to gauge his pit road speed when we start hitting pit stops.
Wow, that's tough. And we could see green flag pit stops here
impossible.
tonight. Yeah. This from Ashley Allgaier. This is the frustrating part about not getting laps in before the race starts. Justin has no gauges. Here's the payoff. Will definitely make not speeding on pit road interesting. And Harper in the picture there. She made the broadcast on Thursday cheering on her dad.
Yeah, it's something you never think about, as you lose your gauges or something like that.
Yeah.
Now, in today's day and age, your pit road speed.
Yeah.
It's one thing to not overheat this thing and cook it out there on the racetrack for your crew chief. Hey, I didn't see it as she was melting down out there. Yeah. But not being able to get it all on pit road, that is huge for the end of their night. For the rest of their night.
He's going to cycle that at least 5,000 more times trying to get the tap to work.
For sure. Come on, baby.
Yeah. And if he doesn't get it to work, he'll have to cheat a little bit to the safe side, being behind somebody. It'd be hard leaving your stall, though, because you're not going to have
to
the
cheat to the safe. So what do? You just get in front of somebody and push the clutch in and let them push you down pit road at speed? What would you suggest, Jamie?
I can't tell you
what would you do in this situation?
I just got to tell everyone at home that we have Clint Boyer, and now we have Clint Boyer with coffee, and that is making me a little bit nervous sitting within about 8 feet of you.
Aren't you glad you came tonight, Jamie?
I just am so pumped right now.
We haven't even made it to the end of the opening stage.
Not even a stage.
We're all guessing they're not going to pit here. We kind of swung and missed on strategy about 10 laps ago. We'll see if we get this one right.
I don't know that I've ever seen a competition caution come out and everybody caught us off guard. No Larry Mack. It's as simple as that.
You're feeding his ego right now. You know that, huh?
Oh, he's loving this. There's no doubt about it. Larry Mack is loving this right now.
We got this one right. And we'll have a shootout.
Justin's coming down. We need to fix this, boys. I need pit road speed.
Let's come back with the Fox Drone Cam. Brought to you by Clint Boyer Racing, who provides tricks like that. I mean, I feel like I'm at the Olympics because we're doing somersaults and we're diving into the side of race cars.
Just showing off. Speaking of, look at that. Athleticism right there. Just give me high gear, boys.
I think this is a smart call, though.
Absolutely.
I mean, you get penalized and guys are over the wall too soon. That's a moot point, right? Because you got to go to the back anyway. But you can find some things out here that maybe better help you repair this at the end of the stage here in a handful of laps.
And Justin and that race team can get back in this race, will get back in this race and be a factor at the end. He needs that pit road speed. That is very, very critical when we get down to the end.
Restart up front. Ross Chastain, Kyle Busch. Listen in. This ought to be good with 13 to go, stage 1.
Still in back. 11-1 back with
Jamie.
Drag you back.
It's really difficult to listen to these guys just jump all over the throttle. For so many years, you know, you used to spin your tires on that outside big time. But look at this move on Kyle Busch, hanging tough on the bottom right here. Side draft, big side draft.
Still there.
Rifle that thing off in on the bottom. He's going to hold tough. That Ross Chastain will hold tough right here.
Yeah, and he'll have the advantage when they get down to 1 and 2 here. The outside's going to be the preferred lane. They'll pinch Kyle off a little bit on the entry probably and try to.
And you know that too, right?
Yeah,
Jamie?
Kyle knows that.
But so did Ross Chastain. He gave up.
Ooh, he got really loose there.
And that's why Ross Chastain held tough down there in 3 and 4, because he knew he had the
then he gave a courtesy wave. Hey, sorry about that.
Yeah,
didn't mean to get you loose. It was an accident.
That will. That means nothing, does it? There's nothing that'll make you aggravated more than that. Is when you know, somebody drives it in on your door, gets you loose, and they're like, "Hey man," it's like they acknowledge that they really messed it up. But sure hope you're not upset.
Don't do that to me later in the race, please.
Haley driving down below Riley Herbst into turn 1.
You can hear those guys. They're having to work the throttle quite a bit on the bottom of the exit of turn 2 there.
Brandon Jones, fresh tires. He's one of those that pitted on that competition caution at lap 22. He's come back from 16th to 7th since that last restart.
Great camera shot right there. You can see these cars really sliding as they come off the corner. Oh, by the way, wide open and carrying all that speed.
Allgaier update, working his way back through the field to 20th. Racing behind the 92 of Josh Williams.
I tell you, getting to run the 600 last night was a. Let's look at Kyle Busch getting loose underneath the 10 of Ross Chastain here.
He drove that thing off in there really, really hard trying to clear him. Didn't quite get cleared.
And when you
underneath of him,
you know, Clint, when you're Ross Chastain, you're in the outside, and you hear Kyle Busch kind of get out of the gas. You drive up the racetrack a little bit, like, I got to get away from him a little bit.
You start hearing them tailpipes crackling and underneath him. You're like, whoa! You got to look over your shoulder.
Move up.
Both these drivers that are out front raced last night. I mean, it's a bit of a misnomer for Kyle because we know how good he is and that's great equipment, but how much does that experience from one night ago help Ross in this situation?
Maybe by 3 and 4 might be a little bit better. Judging off of him.
There's so many of these guys that are obviously trying to learn the racetrack, trying to figure all that out. We've got traction compound, and then, oh, by the way, the teams, it's kind of, like I said it earlier, it's a guesstimate. You know, there's no rocket science here. They're working through their simulations, and they've got it close. It's unbelievable how close we can get these setups. But that being said, there's still things that you have to kind of guess on. And until they get a couple pit stops here to make those adjustments, they won't have it down pat.
And you can see fresh tires being an advantage there. Kyle Busch getting to the inside of Ross Chastain. I think he's going to clear him this time, Clint, down in there. Oh, definitely going to clear him. Drive right up in front of him.
Crossover, will it work for Chastain? It will not. All clear, 54 to the point. 6.5 laps to go in stage number 1 at Charlotte.
Let's just point out there was no courtesy wave from Kyle Busch on return right there.
I thought there might be a courtesy something else. What's up, Matt?
There might be a courtesy text from the 19 of Brandon Jones. A lot of time texting after last night's 600-miler, and Brandon felt like that Kyle Busch indeed would have a big advantage because he knows the trends of the racetrack, and that's why he was picking Kyle's brain just about what to expect. Now, they did stop earlier, made a chassis adjustment to try to fix the balance of the 19. He was a little bit free at both ends of the racetrack.
You know, Clint, for those guys having 20 laps on their tires, he's better than they are, but it's not as big of a deal as you normally see at Charlotte with tires.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that last night as well. But it had their moments, right? I mean,
yeah.
Kevin Harvick started up front on old tires and wasn't in the right line, didn't really get up to speed, and man, he was in trouble. Definitely was in the way until he got those tires back on and got an adjustment and got back going. So I think it's kind of situational. You know, if you get that jump, you get out there in the clean air and you get off, you know, right off the bat, you'll be just fine.
Chase Briscoe.
Yeah, it was a big move right there, power move. Got a huge run off the outside, dove down to the bottom. Yeah. Spotter, he is just waiting to hear clear, right? And that spotter, you got to remember, the spotters are down on the roof down in turn one, and trying to spot those cars coming straight at him right there. That's a bad vantage point for those guys. Whoa, big save right there for Harrison Burton. Definitely loose right there with a 20 car.
Yeah, I like what I'm seeing here, guys. As the tires are getting old, we're seeing kind of 2 lanes, and we're seeing a lot of racing. That's a good sign for what we're going to have tonight.
All 4 Gibbs cars inside the top 10 now. And there's one of them, Harrison Burton, who's 10th, and under attack, Michael Annett in the 1. Had a late spin or might have picked up a top 5 finish at Darlington on Thursday. Hey, I got a question for you when it comes to Brandon Jones. He's 5th on new tires. So why is he racing so aggressively? Because undoubtedly he's going to stay out at the end of the stage and inherit a ton of track position. I just wonder about wearing the good and giving up that advantage, you know?
Well, the other thing about that is you got to get it back to clean air. And the closer you get to that clean air, the better off you are, the easier you are on your tires and things like that. So you got to get out of that dirty air, get some downforce back on your car to save those tires as well. So it's a little bit of a catch-22 there.
2 to go on the stage. Here's Matt again on Allgaier.
And Adam, like you mentioned, we've been following the electrical issue on the 7. It does not sound like at this point that they have fixed that issue. With pit stops coming up, it's going to be interesting to see if he can keep pit road speed.
Yeah, it's a story we're going to continue to follow. And the thing to me that's so tough for Allgaier, I just feel like something's gone wrong in all the races this year. I mean, coming in, he's led a lap in every race, but something at some stage of the event always seems to go wrong for that 17.
Seems like they've definitely been a little bit snake bit there, but you keep knocking on the door the way Justin and his team has. They'll be just fine. Their time will be coming. Just might today.
Final lap.
This is just one thing. Not being able to do that on pit road, who knows what's going to happen here.
Final lap opening stage, and it goes to Kyle Busch. Chastain ends up 2nd, so he gets 9 stage points. Good for him. Would have loved to have gotten the win and picked up that playoff point. Haley, Gregson, Jones make up the top 5. Then it's Cendrick, Herbst, Briscoe, Hemrick, and Burton, all scoring points here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Because they've not pitted at all tonight. And Jones pulling up, and he will pit here. So that answers the question as to why he would have been racing so hard with those guys.
Yeah.
They'll have 1 less set of tires, though. Matt Yoakum.
And when that 19 hit pit road earlier, they made that chassis adjustment only, so they're going to be on the same cycle. The 11 on the left side of your screen. Haley, his car just super tight, going across the bumps, consistent what we're hearing from different comments of drivers. The 10 of Ross Chastain, he says the car just wants to turn and get out from underneath him on throttle. Noah Gragson, he's going to have the 0-2 in front of him when he goes to exit, so there's going to be some concern there. The car simply plowing. You can see the 19 is away. Great stops all around.
And the race off pit road going to be won by Kyle Busch. Chastain is 2nd. Chase Briscoe, big money for the 98 +5. That's your group.
Saw that again last week. Basically put him in a position to win the race. The boys are on it. Wish I'd had more opportunity to watch them guys do that again last night. Let's go to Ross Chastain at 10, man. I think he's holding tough. Hey, Ross Chastain, it's Boyer over here in the booth. You got us?
Might need to try that again.
Yo, Ross Chastain, it's Boyer and the boys over here in the booth. You got us?
Sir.
There you are. Man, holding pretty tough. Got off to a good start. Kyle Busch got around you there, but is there something about his line, some adjustments there maybe that you learned where you can get back around him?
I don't know. Number 10, Nutri-Nag Solutions car is obviously really good. Yeah, you know, I raced him hard. I know catch some flack sometimes from some of you boys, so I'm sure he wasn't happy. I hung on his door there, but man, I got to, I know there's no fans in the stands, but got to put on a show at some point. I'm going to keep battling with him.
All right, man, go at it. We'll be watching. Doing a good job so far. Good luck.
Thanks, buddy.
Oh.
No, that's not good.
That's not going to work. Jeffrey Earnhardt, who had a career day last year at Charlotte, making his second start of 2020 tonight, driving the 0 for JD Motorsports. Going to run about 15 races this year. And he'll be lucky if that thing isn't torn up. And problems for Ryan Sieg in the garage. We'll follow up on that after a break. It's been an entertaining opening stage for the Xfinity cars at Charlotte Motor Speedway. This from NASCAR Chasm. There's $4 in spare change, and I'd like 30 curly fries and a whole pecan swirl under this seat. You filthy hamster. Huh? He's your guy, Jamie.
He is everybody's guy, the go-to guy. Gosh, he's funny.
I feel like Clint and I have both been his avatar at some point.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, and I want to confirm something, and then we'll move on from this story. But when Brandon Jones pitted at lap 22, Matt Yoakum and I talking during the break, just to confirm, they did not take tires.
Okay.
So they are level on tires with everyone else. They just made a chassis adjustment. We had some conflicting information, and there was some confusion. They are level on tires. He's going to restart
Jack out from underneath the 0 car here as well, so they're back off to the races.
And Kyle Busch taking that outside lane as we begin our second stage.
Still in there. You've got no help. He doesn't either. He's at your door. California.
That's a big move by Ross Chastain to be able to clear Kyle Busch by the exit of turn 2.
Can we make it 3 wide going into turn 3? Chase Briscoe on the move, going to the inside of Kyle Busch for second. Justin Haley getting aggressive through 3 and 4.
I think you nailed it right there, Adam. Aggression. Now people have gotten adjustments. They know what to expect with their cars when they drive them things off in there. Now we're going to see some side-by-side racing, some aggressive moves with these guys. Confidence is everything, Jamie. I mean, when you're out there on that racetrack, you start off. Could you imagine starting? I mean, you've did this your whole life, right? Your whole adult life you've raced. Could you imagine running these races, starting these races with no practice?
No, I mean, when those guys went to Darlington last week without any practice, I mean, we got to go there for 3 days when I was a rookie in the Xfinity Series to practice to make that mistake of getting into the wall. So no, it's completely different, clearly, than when you and I came up, Clint. I'm going to put you in that category, just so you know.
Oh, yeah,
I know you're a little younger, but you're still in my category.
I'm not as old as you.
Neither of us are in Jeff's category, though.
No.
What was that, rookie speed weeks at Darlington? Is that what they called it, Jamie, when you went down there for a month to get ready for a 200-mile race?
I think it was, Adam.
Speaks to the difference in talent from when you were coming up to now, right?
Yeah, so, guys, Ross Chastain, man, he talked about it. He kind of called his shot, flexing some muscle here. It's going to be interesting if Kyle Busch can catch him, you know, how tough he holds right there on the outside if he tries to hold him down again.
Hey, based on that interview, it sounds like he's going to try to hold him down. I like that.
The showman man said.
I feel like someone was watching the broadcast and told him maybe what we said, Clint.
Teammates here talked a lot about Brandon Jones. Harrison Burton in the 20. Looking for his second win of the year's got some momentum. And right behind them, the Chevrolet of Daniel Hemrick driving that 8 for Junior Motorsports.
You know, I watched Harrison Burton last week at Darlington. He just that thing gets off in the corner. It just doesn't look settled, man. You can see it sliding around right there. It does not look like it's underneath of him, and it looked the same way last week. Definitely got his hands full right there with his setup.
No, and something you can watch for there is when you see someone running the bottom and they're not on that line, that means they couldn't pull on the wheel, or the car didn't turn, or the back didn't feel comfortable, and that's a sign the car's not handling well.
It just looks nervous in the corner to me. You can see Kyle drafting up to him right there. It's going to be the story of the rest of the race, I'm thinking.
There's Daniel Hemrick in 9th, and I love that paint scheme. It's painted up to look like a P-47 Thunderbolt that was used in World War II. Great on this Memorial Day.
You know, his season started off really tough, guys. He was down and out, and then he had that great run last week at Darlington. Felt really good coming into to today, and this is actually a pretty good track for Daniel.
Such a great dude. Loved seeing him run well. He's just one of those guys you want to pull for.
Absolutely.
He's a local guy. Kannapolis, North Carolina. Won that Legends Million event here 10 years ago on the front straightaway at Charlotte, so he's celebrated here before.
One of the coolest things about a P51 is that side exhaust, and you can see it right there. Those, I think they have V12s in, man. I got the opportunity to hear one of those things fire up at Lexington one day up there at the airport. God, they sound cool.
What's the latest on that 8-car, Matt?
And you can see him down hugging the line there, trying to move around the 19 of Brandon Jones. Turns 1 and 2. That's where he seems to make up the most time, the most speed down at that end of the racetrack. Struggles a little bit more down in 3 and 4.
One of the things I saw right there as those 3 cars were going down the back straight is his splitter was pretty high compared to the other 2 cars he's racing around right there. You can kind of see the gap in between them right there, and that certainly is grip. You can see him sliding around a little bit as he tries to navigate around Brandon Jones here on the bottom.
Now we go back to the battle for the lead. Ross Chastain in front of Kyle Busch. The rest of the top 5, Chase Briscoe, Austin Cendrick, Noah Gregson. Thanks for being with us on FS1. Back on this Memorial Day as we continue to think of those that made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation's freedom. And tonight at Charlotte Motor Speedway, you can see the Honor and Remember flag, so symbolic on this Memorial Day. The red field of the flag represents the blood spilled by brave men and women in America's military throughout our history who willingly gave their lives so we all would remain free. The white field on the flag recognizes the purity of sacrifice. There is no greater price an American can pay than to give their life in service to our country. And we continue to thank all of those that have served and paid the ultimate price, and their families who mourn the loss.
Always such a huge presence during this special weekend at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Obviously not having fans and things like that. It's such a cool thing. Have that huge flag. That was something that caught my eye every time I come off of turn 4 last night was that massive flag coming off there.
Great racing tonight at Charlotte. Halfway through our second stage, Ross Chastain has been the man, started on the pole. Led 53 laps tonight. The other 15 led by Kyle Busch, who is second. And the 54 did win the first stage, and he's knocking on the door of the lead again.
Yeah, I saw Ross Chastain. You see he drove it off in there, and it got tight. He really had to come up out of the gas. And that old App State machine 54 ball is getting big in the mirror, boys.
Here we go again. Same thing we saw earlier, guys. Same corner. Didn't hug him quite as tight, but I'm seeing the groove starting to move up a little bit, Clint. And even Ross is actually running a little high in 3 and 4, which allowed Kyle to get underneath him, but it looks like that's starting to come in as well.
Gonna have to be careful. I mean, that's the cushion, right? If you jump that cushion, it will bite you.
Oh, yeah, and you can see Ross's hands inside the car. When they zoom in, you see him working the wheel back and forth. So his car isn't driving perfect. It's a little bit on the loose side.
What about that 54, Matt?
Remember his analysis of what he thought other drivers were thinking about his level of aggression? He was spot on. As Kyle Busch starts to really close in, Busch said on the radio, we might want to find a watermelon smasher pretty quick. Spotter Chris Lambert said, yep, he's up to his old tricks. All over that bumper on the 10.
Yeah, that was some watermelon smashing right there. Chastain grew up on a watermelon farm. His family, when he was in quarantine, was doing their harvest. He helped them out. They put out 500 semi-loads full of watermelons, and boy, he needs some toughness right now. And it's a 3-man fight for the lead. Here's Briscoe.
Hey, Kyle tried to intimidate him right there, guys, and Ross Chastain did not stand for it. Now it's brought Chase Briscoe into the race.
Racing tough is one thing. That will bite you. You mess with guys like Kyle Busch and put him in that scenario. The one thing that you don't want to see is you're racing somebody, all's fair, right? You got to race hard and things like that, but when people start catching you in the rearview mirror and then a guy passes you because of the fact that you're sitting here getting held up by a guy, that's when your patience is over. Now you're mad, now you're going to move them. That's what's going to happen.
Hey, I would agree with you, but it is Kyle Busch, and we want to see a really good race tonight, Clint. So I'm okay with Ross Chastain bringing another driver into the mix.
But, I mean, you see what momentum means. Busch with the push here loses some momentum, and that's why Briscoe's now second, right?
Well, look, Kyle was mad at Ross right there because he's hugging Kyle down in turns 1 and 2. Kyle's trying to prove a point here, like, look, I'm faster than you. But look, I mean, it's a race, and I don't think that you can get mad. I don't think anybody can get mad at anyone for racing. That's what we're here to watch.
It's mentalities. There's definitely different mentalities with everybody that you're racing, and you always know that. But you can see, watch Ross Chastain, and his hands get full when that 54 gets on him right there. But again, if you're going to race a guy like that, you got to expect
and
that.
Listen, I agree 100%, Clint. That probably will come back to bite him at some point, but it sure is fun to watch right now.
Oh, entertainment at its best.
But we've all talked to Ross. I don't think he backs down from the way he races. We heard it in the interview you did earlier, Clint.
Well, again, it's mentalities and how you race and how you grew up racing. Guys like Mark Martin, he doesn't race that way. He's going to allow that guy to let him around, go in and get an adjustment, get his hot rod tuned up, and go after him at the end of the race when the money's on the line. These kids today's day and age, they're going to race you hard every single lap. I mean, there's no right answer there. Everybody's different, and everybody has a different mentality and perspective on that.
And Chastain, by maintaining the top spot, keeps that clean air and starting to pull away from second place Chase Briscoe. His advantage just under a second. And Busch now moving in on Briscoe. 15 laps to go in our second stage from Charlotte. It's Chastain, Briscoe, Kyle Busch, Austin Cendrick, and Noah Gragson in top 5. Back at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and you are looking live at the battle for the lead where Kyle Busch is gotten by Ross Chastain. That's after he passed Chase Briscoe for second while we were away. They're in lap traffic, and all this happening with 9 to go in stage 2. Chastain, we know he's not going to give it up.
Some serious racing right there, very intense. Picked him with a lapper, and again, that's what you have to do. You have to look at an opportunity to break somebody's momentum as they caught that lap traffic. That's something, Adam, that you're looking forward to, right? As you catch these guys, you got to pounce on them right here, and that's certainly what Kyle Busch did.
Well, Clint, I don't know about you, but I think Ross is lucky that the circumstances happened the way that they did, because if Kyle caught him again, I don't think it was going to end pretty.
He was going to be moved.
We had a nice conversation during the commercial about the philosophy of how you race competitors. And Jamie, you said what about Chastain and how he handled the battle with Kyle Busch?
Well, I think he raced Kyle Busch a little different than he would race a series regular. If it's someone that you're having to race against every single week, I think there's some give and take like Clint's been talking about. It happens every week. But Kyle Busch is a different circumstance. He's going to race him a little bit harder. He knows he doesn't have to deal with him every single week.
Hey, man, this is a different perspective for me, honestly. I mean, being in the broadcast booth, watching this race, having the experience of being in the car and racing these guys, I like it. I love it. As a fan, I love it. As a racer, we're trying to get around that guy as somebody else caught you. Man, it's nothing that makes you boil over more than that. But it's what you have to do. In this racetrack, with the momentum and everything that's so important, that's how you have to race today's day and age.
Myatt Snyder back in the 21 this week for Richard Childress Racing, who won here a year ago with Tyler Reddick, who's been so impressive as a Cup rookie. And right behind him, Justin Allgaier, all the problems tonight that he's been facing with those gauges, but he's worked his way back to 13th. Not bad when you consider all they've faced in the first 90 or so laps of this race.
Yeah, and a good day. It's good to see Myatt Snyder, having a solid day right here. Got wrecked last weekend, man. That was very unfortunate for him. Good kid, good family. Good solid run so far.
Adam, we're sitting here looking at Justin Allgaier. You pointed this out. He's led a lap in every race. He's led the second most laps of any driver in the series, and he has the most stage wins. That 7 car has run incredible, but we talked to him on Race Hub earlier today, and I'm like, Justin, what do you have to do to put the finish together? And he's like, we got to execute. And he went through a list of all the things they've done wrong. And look, Clint said earlier, this to his point, this is one of those things, like, you just can't have those failures. And it's no one's fault, right? It's not any one person, but it just seems like every week something's happening to this 7 car to keep him from getting to victory lane.
And it goes in cycles, Jamie.
Absolutely.
We've all been there. I mean, you just seem like you just can't do anything right. Can't make a decision. Can't even get a top 10, and the next thing you know, poof, you've been in a top 10, just a string of them. So their time's coming. That's too good a race team not to.
What do you have on the 22, Matt?
Well, closing in on the next pit stop here in the car. Much better down in 3 and 4. It's really solid, but it's tighter down in turns 1 and 2. And Austin told me that this was a stretch a year ago where he and crew chief Brian Wilson really came together and gelled. It was the worst 2 races of the year, Charlotte and Pocono, but they were able to really get on the same page as far as the feel that Austin needs in that 22, and they're making a game plan for the stop coming up.
I think this is a team that brings some momentum in. Top 5 run, as you talked with him earlier, Clint, before we went green, from the driver's seat back at Darlington last week. And you can kind of see Austin starting to gain that confidence if you're around him much.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we all know the wheelman that he is on these road courses, and he's really taken these 1.5 miles and short tracks. He's a good race car driver, great race team. The hardest thing to overcome as a rookie like that, you know, when he came in as a rookie, you're getting in a car that wins. That is the hardest thing because you know the equipment's capable of doing it.
It's the greatest and the worst thing that can happen.
Not quite ready for it yet, but you will be. And as soon as he put those together, man, he started stringing off wins and running up front. No surprise at all. One of the coolest things about that car, as a little kid growing up and you know, working on cars my whole life, Snap-on tools. There's something just awesome about having Snap-on. Class all the way.
Hey, what do these two guys have in common? 54, Kyle Busch laps the 66 of Timmy Hill. What do they have in common? You guys know?
They were both incredible iRacers.
Okay, that is good. They're both running all 7 races in 11 days as NASCAR makes its return. All 3 races last weekend at Darlington, and they'll do it again this week here at Charlotte.
You don't think Kyle Busch is a wheel man. I mean, nothing to gain right there, right? He was all by himself, still foot to the floor, sideways up off the corner, just the way he races every single lap.
Kyle Busch knows his way to stage victories. He's got both of them here tonight. Chastain was 2nd, Briscoe 3rd, Cendrick 4th, Gregson 5th. Kyle Busch won both stages at Charlotte in 2018, but he finished 8th. Friday Night SmackDown is all new every week on Fox. This week, it's the semifinals of the Intercontinental Championship Tournament as Daniel Bryan faces Jeff Hardy. Plus, Elias takes on the newest member of the SmackDown roster, AJ Styles. It's Friday Night SmackDown, 8/7 Central, only on Fox. Clint, what night do you think Friday Night SmackDown is on?
Monday.
This is Monday Night
This
SmackDown.
is the SmackDown right here, man. It is going on the racetrack tonight on a Monday night. It might not be in a wrestling match, but it's on a racetrack.
Well, the night's not over yet. Pit road is open, and here they come as we end stage 2, Matt.
And the 22 of Cendrick already hits his box. He needs a little more help with grip down in turns 1 and 2. That 10, he's going to get a tear off Ross Chastain. His car tight, the same exact area it was the previous run. Meanwhile, Brandon Jones, air pressure adjustment on that 19, also a tear off as the 10 is away. Meanwhile, Kyle Busch is in, his car trending freer over that run than it was the previous run. He also said it felt like the air pressures might have been a tick too low on that first run there, the 98. Chase Briscoe, a tire almost gets away. His car was much tighter down in 3 and 4.
Yeah, Matt, great catch seeing that tire getting away, and it was close. I'm not sure if they got it before they incur a penalty. We'll wait word from NASCAR. And holding serve off the pit lane, the 54 and the 10. Ooh, that's really close, really close.
That's where that guy was wishing he was taller, man. When those tires get away from those guys, you can see it as a driver too. You can see those tires get away. Let's go to Kyle Busch.
What are you gonna ask him, Clint? Come on, I dare you.
Going for it. Hey, Kyle Busch, it's Boyer over here in the booth. You got us?
My gosh, I thought you'd still be partying from last night.
Man, I tell you what, you gonna let this 10 around you again on this restart? Give us some entertainment here?
They sure have been putting on some entertainment so far. It's keeping me on my toes. So I'd like to say that I can get out of here and get going. I know we're faster than they are, but damn, they race here like hell.
He certainly has. Been entertaining, to say the least, man. Doing a pretty good job. What's the track doing for you? It looks like you got a little bit loose there. Got an adjustment? I think we lost him.
He's not telling you his secrets, Clint.
I think we've already got him.
Let go of the mic, bud. It's just loose. These cars are loose. No downforce. Reduced downforce. being down in that bottom groove, man, with this tire, the sidewall is really stiff too, so all the bumps around here just puts this thing all over the place. So you got to be careful and tiptoe sometimes and pick and choose your battles. So hopefully we can do a good job of that here with our App State Supra. Congratulations to the class of 2020 here. I know it's not quite your graduation you'd like, but we'd love to bring home a win for you.
Well, it's certainly a cool-looking race car. Good luck, man. These restarts have been exciting. Keep it up, bud.
Thank you to Kyle. The Busch brothers going to be in the booth with us on Saturday calling the race from Bristol, Tennessee. And here's the battle we talked about. It's Kyle Busch, Ross Chastain, flat putting on a show at Charlotte. And I thought Kyle seemed like he was in a really good mood.
Way better mood than I thought it was. I thought that was going to go.
Yeah, he is loose. By the way, paying off a story, Chase Briscoe's tire got away. He was penalized. He's going to have to start at the rear. The final stage is coming your way next. It's been an awesome night so far for the Xfinity Series. Hey, prior to the break, you heard Kyle Busch talk about graduation at App State. Listen to this. This past week, both Texas and Las Vegas Motor Speedways opened up their tracks to local high school graduations. Friend of Fox, UFC's Dana White's son, was one of the graduates in Las Vegas. Dana White III graduated from Faith Lutheran Friday night at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And here in Charlotte, the Speedway will be holding a drive-through graduation ceremony for Cabarrus County schools on June 12th and 13th. It is so great, given the time we're in right now, that all these tracks are jumping in and doing this.
It's so cool to see the tracks doing that. What a tough situation, but what a unique photo to have later on and tell that story of why you graduated this way.
And why you were standing on a racetrack.
Yeah, right, with a mask on.
Hey, I'm just glad we're at halfway of a race and we're not talking about it being official because of rain. Isn't that a good feeling?
Oh, man, rain. You know, we get this wonderful opportunity to get our sport back on track, and it's like it's rain every single day. I tell you what, I'm not glad it's halfway. It's been an awesome race. Look at that radar.
I got nervous when the radar popped up. I'm like, oh, they're going to make a liar out of me.
Hey, at this point, I don't trust it. It just comes out of nowhere, it seems like.
Hey, something that Matt Yoakum reported there was that Kyle Busch thought his air pressures were a little low. If you think back to that last restart, we saw his car bottom out. He got a little loose on the outside, and Ross Chastain was able to clear him, so we'll see if they got that fixed.
And you can see him really
He's working them in, isn't he?
Yeah. Trying to build the air pressure up, trying to get some heat in those tires.
And as we go through this run, get a lot of heat in those tires and those pressures will build up. Kyle Busch goes outside lane. We've seen it all night long. Chastain inside of him. The top five, Cendrick, Jones, and Gregson. Here we go with the final stage.
A good start for Ross Chastain on the bottom, too. That's such a hard thing to do. Mind you, you cannot touch the gas until that car on the outside of you does. Look at this. Beating and banging, getting into one.
There was contact, I think,
love it. Look at the tire rub on there. You can see it right in front of the left rear tire there.
Still outside, door, quarter, clear, all clear, all clear.
Cleared him. Here we go again, Jamie.
Go ahead and interview Kyle Busch real quick, Clint. See what he says now.
Brandon Jones is third. Looks as good as he's looked all night long. And don't look now, but the teammate of Ross Chastain, Justin Haley, who had faded a bit, back in the top five and looking for more inside of Cendrick.
Yeah, big night for Colleague Racing. Both of those cars have run up front all night long.
You know, I think one of the things we learned on that last restart is if you're Kyle Busch, you might take the inside the next time because that seems to be the preferred line.
Now how much could that change? Because as the night goes on, in theory, that traction compound could make a difference. So, and here comes Busch.
And this is where we've had the most trouble. As he rifles that thing off on the bottom of Ross Chastain in 1 and 2, he really gets loose. Got to be careful getting into turn 1. Seemed like he held his own right there. Didn't get out from underneath of him, but he did succumb to him off of turn 2 there. That's such a hard thing, Jamie, man. You want to drive off in there. You got to be disciplined. You know if you drive it off in there too hard, that thing can come around on you and end your night.
Well, and the thing is, he knows that Ross has kind of squeezed him down every time he's done that, so you got to be careful. But here's the thing, guys. Kyle Busch had the best car in the long run, so I was shocked by his attitude when you interviewed him. I thought he was in a way better mood than what we normally would get out of Kyle Busch. So look, he's going to bide his time. He's probably going to just torment Ross here for the next 20 laps.
Allgaier, problems with the gauges, was 13th prior to those last pit stops, 15th now. That's not a bad net when you consider everything they're fighting.
Especially with those pit stops like that. I mean, it's just, that would be such a difficult thing. You're not going to be fast. If you even push the limit at least a little bit, man. Here he, oh, clears him right there. Slide job.
Kyle definitely drove it off in there.
Oh,
Pretty deep that time.
But he tiptoed up to it. You know,
he did.
He took a stab at it a couple times, wasn't really comfortable with it. Finally got his car where he thought it was comfortable, rifled it off in there, and it stuck.
Allgaier making more moves, and just behind him, Chase Briscoe, Matt.
Chase Briscoe, he seems more like an old soul, just how he shows his maturity with a bad situation. That uncontrolled tire, the 98, had to go to the back for the restart. He came on the radio and he looked up at the scoreboard and said, we got about 100 laps left, 2 sets of tires, plenty of time.
Man, great attitude. He's a great leader for that race team as he goes after Brandon Brown and the 68. Brown, a family-owned organization out of Virginia.
I thought Matt's description of Chase right there is so perfect, like an old soul, because when he's only 25 years old, but when you see these interviews, he seems so mature and so much older than what his age actually is. And he is one of those guys, always has such a positive attitude. And look, when that pit crew has a bad pit stop, no one feels worse than they do. So for the driver to come on and say, hey guys, we got plenty of time left, we got 2 sets of tires, that to me is what a driver needs to do to pump those guys up and get them ready for the next stop when you're going to need them again.
But mind you, that pit crew also put him in a position to win the race last week. You can't forget that. And as a race car driver, you don't forget that. They gave him that magical moment to showcase to the world that he was capable of beating the Kyle Busch out there in this Xfinity Series. He did that last week. They made a mistake this week, put him behind the hole. You got to give him props, man. You got to keep everybody upbeat. You need those guys to perform.
Well, here's the other thing. It's a long season. He's won twice. He's going to be in the playoffs. As you said, he's going to need those guys. And so getting upset now over one small miscue is not going to help you out as you go through the balance of the campaign. Matt talked about 2 sets of tires remaining. 94 laps to go now. And so everybody going to have to make one more pit stop. It could come under green if this thing runs out, which would be interesting as these guys try to make a green flag pit stop. First time they've done that in a while if it's to come to fruition. Kyle Busch is 2.5 in front of Ross Chastain, and at a track where he feels so comfortable. Charlotte Motor Speedway, almost 1,400 laps led, 8 wins. Oh yeah, that is the best all time. This night racing, it's maybe not good for everybody, especially when you have a bedtime, you know?
One thing about it, no matter what time they go to bed, they get up at the same time.
Braxton enjoying the race.
There's nothing more difficult you to drag home after a long race like this, long weekend, and man, that kid's standing on your head at 6 a.m. Yeah. Get up, let's go play. Like, all right, where's the coffee?
And now our Xfinity fastest laps. Surprise, surprise. Kyle Busch, but not by much over Ross Chastain. You know, I said it earlier on the restart, and then we got to the battle for the lead and didn't totally get to it. Brandon Jones starts out the race, doesn't like his car. They make a pit stop, adjust on it. And now here's the 19 in third and doing a really, really nice job.
Yeah, definitely holding tough right there. Running some fast lap times too. Actually catching Chastain a little bit right there. 1/10 of a second faster.
He was so impressive at Phoenix, guys, to be able to hold off Harrison Burton and Kyle Busch to win that race. He's done a great job this year.
Junior Motorsports great at Darlington. There's a net in the 9th. Allgaier back up in the top 10. Can't say enough about his efforts. And just behind, another driver facing adversity but rallying back. The 98 of Chase Briscoe is 11th and looking for a little more here.
You know, Clint, as we look at Justin Allgaier, we know that his dash is not working. So it's easy to not speed on pit road early in the race, but as we get closer to the end, he's going to want to push that just a little bit more every single time that we have a pit stop.
And going to need to, right? I mean, it becomes a necessity. You need that. You can't give up those spots on pit road because they're so challenging to have, you know, to overcome on the racetrack. Speaking of the racing, you know, we just talked about it there. This Xfinity program has been awesome this year. This package that they have, the composite bodies, I love everything about that. These things, they had their hands full last weekend at Darlington. These guys overcame so much, no practice, anything. Hats off to the entire industry. I think this series is doing a great job. A lot of storylines, a lot of youthism going into a racetrack. Again, going back to Darlington, never seen that racetrack. Could you imagine? No practice, Jamie, but never being at a track like Darlington. You said it. We had hours of practice there before we ever had our chance of running a race there. These guys have done a phenomenal job all season long.
No, Gregson getting pretty aggressive there, getting past Riley Herbst.
Hey, he's had a good year. Wins the season opener at Daytona. A couple of bumps in the road along the way, but I think he's answered the bell.
But I'm going to tell you guys, turn 3's rough. You can see the carts undulate as they go into there and try to get to the bottom.
Did you say undulate?
I did, Adam. That's the word of the day.
All right, so this, guys, I got to fill you in. Anybody that's listening, whatever that word is, Adam threw that word as they were talking about how many miles they have ran today. Who wakes up, Jamie, this retirement? It's retirement, Jamie.
Hey, time out. Let me just...
You told... No. I've got the stage right here. My mic is open. You told me that you planned your running schedule through September. Who the hell does that?
Let's be clear. Bullying
it's
will not...
retirement, Jamie.
Bullying will get you nowhere. And, hey, Clint's a little bit of a closet workout guy. I know you and Laura had the aerobics instructor coming over not long ago.
Aerobics instructor.
Don't be lying now.
Jamie tweets how many miles he ran, what the undulation was in his route.
Undulation.
It's unbelievable.
Got some awesome racing right there. Brandon Jones passing Ross Chastain as we were undulating through the field right here.
Chastain maybe starting to drift just a little bit with 80 to go. Meanwhile, here comes Chase Briscoe, never giving up. Ooh. And very tight racing with a 7 of Justin Allgaier. Hemrick right there as well.
Telling you guys, the racetrack gets so narrow on the exit of turn 4. I think it's only about 35 feet wide at one point, and you see where all those cars get squeezed down, and Chase got loose really late on the exit of that corner.
Momentum is such a key to this racetrack, and you know, you get that momentum off the outside. You get a run on some guy, you get that draft, you get... As you head off into turn 1, you have that choice, right? Do you take it or do you not take it?
And it seems like 5 minutes down the front stretch of trying to figure out what decision you're going to make.
Especially when you dive that thing off into the bottom in turn 1, knowing probably what the outcome is going to be.
It's been a great night. 79 laps to go for these Xfinity cars in Charlotte. They've got to pit one more time. Kyle Busch leading Brandon Jones and Ross Chastain. We're back in a moment. It's Monday Night NASCAR, the Xfinity Series racing on Memorial Day at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And we continue to honor our fallen heroes. Let's go to Matt Yoakum.
Adam, today we remember those who served and fell protecting our country, but it's also the anniversary of brave heroism and the saving of tens of thousands of lives by U.S. soldiers like the late Sergeant Joe Sacco. The first beach Sergeant Sacco ever saw was Omaha in the D-Day invasion. He fought at the Battle of the Bulge, but his proudest day of service was 75 years ago last month, April 29, 1945, when Sergeant Sacco helped liberate the notorious Nazi concentration camp at Dachau. Truly an honor to have met him 14 years ago. We thank him for his service, but also his son John, now a NASCAR official for many years, for his service too in the U.S. Army.
What a wonderful story. Thanks for sharing, Matt. And so many great stories like that as you walk through the NASCAR garage. I said it yesterday, the partnership between NASCAR and our nation's military is untouchable. It's outstanding.
Well, we feel it as race car drivers. You know, we get to honor them each and every week. You have families there, and it's just so meaningful to me. And it's really neat to be able to meet them, you know, at the car, drivers meeting, all the different things that we get to do to interact with their families and them. It's just very, very cool and meaningful.
I'm looking at the lap times. Brandon Jones in some traffic here, but he's been a little faster than Kyle Busch. He was over 3 seconds back. Now it's 2.6. What do you see out of the 19 here, Jamie?
Well,
Well, he clearly is running a little bit quicker than Kyle. The thing is, lap traffic is holding up some of these guys, so the lap times are going back and forth. But look, Brandon Jones, like I said, he has been super impressive this year. And look, we've seen him for a few years, and all of a sudden it seems like towards the end of last year he got that win, and then the first start of this year, with the exception of Darlington, he's run incredible. Look back to Auto Club, Adam. I mean, he had the best car there.
You said it right there. You know, you got to utilize the lap traffic. I mean, we saw it. He was catching him, right? And then now all of a sudden he was a half a second slower as he caught the lap traffic. So, you know, as one catches one, he gets held up once he gets by him. That's what makes, honestly, that's what makes Kyle Busch such a good race car driver that I've, you know, from me, is he can get through traffic as good as anybody I've ever seen race a race car. It's incredible. I mean, but look at the experience that he gets to do each and every week, but he is phenomenal at getting through such a difficult thing with lap traffic.
Well, I mean, it's the difference in being fast in a car and being able to race a car.
Yeah.
And Clint, I agree with you. I think Kyle Busch is the best at being able to manipulate traffic, make his car work at different parts on the racetrack. And you said something earlier that I think every single time I watch Kyle Busch race, it was the last lap coming to the checkered flag of a stage, and he's sideways. Nothing to gain, right? But that's Kyle Busch. He runs every lap that way.
But how many races has he won when we have a cycle of green flag pit stops and he's able to make up so much time getting on and off pit road? And that's a circumstance we could be faced with here tonight, because this race right now has a long green flag run field.
But I mean, if we're going to continue to brag on him, as you just said that, one of the things that he does, as many times as he wins the battle off of pit road, he gets caught speeding. He is always pushing the envelope all over the racetrack, whether it's on their track or on pit road. You have to do that.
And I thought that last week, Clint. I'm watching the race. I'm like, Kyle Busch has this one. He sped on pit road the last stop. I'm like, why would you speed on pit road? But he's always pushing the limit every single pit stop.
Chase Briscoe continues to impress. He had a penalty at the end of stage 2 when a tire got away. Starts at the tail, comes through the field, and if he can get by and clear Riley Herbst, it would put him up to 7th. Now, he's likely going to need a caution to have a chance to really get back in and tighten up the field. But I got to say, when you look at what he's overcome, it's unreal. And a couple of guys racing here tonight. As you see the promo pop in, will be racing again tomorrow. Gander trucks make their return 8 Eastern time here on FS1.
Looking forward to them, boys. Boy, do they put on a race. Did you see, Jamie, how high he was in 1 and 2? That traction compound just keeps getting moved up higher and higher and higher. That's enabling him to make some of these moves and drive up through the field the way he is.
Yeah, and one of the things I thought is he did what you expect someone to do when you're on the inside of them. Riley was on the bottom. He gave him plenty of room to make sure if he got loose that he didn't get into him. Man, look at that lap traffic, guys. They are having to dice in and out of this right now.
One of them, the 61, Austin Hill. Great last year in Gander trucks. Won 4 races and certainly going to be a player tomorrow night here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Running a limited Xfinity schedule. Speaking of trucks, there's a graduate of the Gander Truck Series. Noah Gregson drove a couple of years for Kyle Busch, including a trip to the Championship 4. Now for Junior Motorsports, driving that number 96.
You know, Clint, I feel like he's so loose right now. I feel like every time we get a view of Noah, he is eating up that line, getting his left front down, trying to find that grip. But his car's turning good. I thought I heard him say he was tight earlier. I have not seen that yet.
I think what you saw right there as you're coming down the hill, getting into 3, is those bumps that you talked about earlier. It's really getting rough over there as the years progress on this racetrack. And I see you saw it firsthand right there. You have your hands full. You got to protect. And speaking of protect, look at these lappers right here.
92 is Josh Williams, the 0. The big jack problem earlier for Jeffrey Earnhardt. And more lappers in front of them.
Ooh, you get a little push from Chase right there.
But he kind of shut the door off on Chase, and that's what you have to do. You know, Chase was trying to pick him with that lapper right there. He saw it coming, moved down, took his line. Now you can see Chase really get tight right there, aero tight. The aero side of this racetrack is such a big factor, and being able to watch that mirror, knowing what those guys are doing, spotter in your ear, that's very, very important as they're telling them guys how to, you know, where the guys are at, what you need to do as you navigate around this traffic.
61 to go. Everyone pitted at the end of stage 2 at lap 93. So in the next 15 laps or so, we'll see green flag pit stops. Your race leader is Kyle Busch at Charlotte. The NASCAR Xfinity Series has been racing at Charlotte Motor Speedway since 1982. Tonight marks the 75th time we've been here. And look at some of the big names that have won the spring edition. You got Bobby Allison, a Hall of Famer. There's Tim Richmond, won it back in 1985. Fox's own Jeff Gordon got it done in 92. He swept that year. Michael Waltrip, our guy, did it a year later. And Kyle Busch 5 times has won the spring race, 8 times overall. And there's that 54 carrying the App State colors tonight. And scheduled green flag pit stops underway. That's the 8 of Daniel Hemrick.
Boy, I think that'll be a penalty, don't you guys?
I hate to guess on that. I mean, it could be, and that's why I hesitated on Chase earlier.
Mistakes right here. It's all about mistakes. These green flag pit stops are extremely difficult, and that's where all the juice is. Whoa, you can see it right there with Chase Briscoe. Yeah.
Did he speed, do you think? I mean, he was coming in hot.
And that's what I'm talking about. Mistakes coming on pit road. You've got to push the envelope to get it off. You have to get it off, but watch this right here.
Well, and Clint, that's where not getting to practice kills you, because you practice that in happy hour, coming to pit road.
He was pretty fast right there.
Here's Matt Yoakum.
A great save, though. Uncontrolled tire of the previous pit stop. And you could hear in his confidence in the voice that he knew he could come back. An air pressure adjustment here in the 98. Still trying to find the proper balance. Meanwhile, four-wheel slide almost for the 18 of Riley Herbst. He said he just couldn't pull it to the bottom like others could. 98's away.
Also on pit road, that leaf filter car. And we just got word. 98 Chase Briscoe. Too fast entering.
Hey, you can see it. Anytime you see them go past that yellow line and they're still hard on the brakes and wheel hopping and things like that,
it's just hard to get slowed down.
Absolutely.
And I tell you, Clint, we talked about keeping that pit crew pumped up. That's the reason you don't get mad at them, because he made a mistake there.
Slid through.
Here's Brandon Jones, Matt.
Brandon Jones trying to win his 3rd race in the last 10. Clean tear off. Oh, the crew member takes a big tumble trying to get back over the wall. His biggest issue, just lacking front turn. Needs more grip, and air pressure adjustment. Going to shuffle them there on the 19. And meanwhile, the 54 of Kyle Busch on his way to his pit box. Remember, Jacob Cantor, one of the young rising stars at JGR, longtime engineer there, on top of the box for Busch in 2020. Jason Shapiro, longtime car chief, has a bag of ice to hand through a tear-off, trying to tweak that balance even more. Tire almost got away. Luckily they grabbed it. No issue here on the 54.
Hey, Matt, great job down there tonight. One pit reporter for the entire pit lane. We had Regan working in the rain last week and Matt running up and down pit road tonight. Great job. And 54 of Kyle Busch, speeding penalty. And I'm not sure about Noah Gregson because he locked him down. And remember, all this happening with just 50 laps to go. There's not going to be much recovery time.
I said it, mistakes. It's such a difficult thing. You're asking a lot out of everybody. The drivers coming on the pit road, again, nothing to go off of. No practice sessions. All right, I got that mark on there. You're going to see big-time mistakes and big-time.
No, but look, Clint, I don't think we expect that out of Kyle. He had a 4-second lead before the caution was out. Why push the envelope?
We talked about it, Jamie.
He does, I know. He does.
I think this is the 3rd straight race that Kyle Busch has gotten a speeding penalty. The Xfinity race at Darlington, the same last night. In the Cup race and tonight. We'll double check that. So he's paid his debt. The 19 of Brandon Jones also got a speeding penalty, guys.
You know, and Ross Chastain minimizing mistakes. He just slid through his pit box. That's all he had. He backed up a little bit. No harm, no foul. I mean, net and out, he might be just fine right here.
And honestly, Clint, I think if we get another caution and we can talk to Kyle Busch, you should ask him why he's been on pit road right there.
I'll let you handle that, bud.
Hey, 49 to go, and we're cycling through green flag stops. There's Brandon Jones coming down with his penalty. Michael Annett is now shown as the leader, and look who's second. It's the 02 of Brett Moffitt. He broke both of his legs when we were away from NASCAR competition. He's back racing and doing a nice job.
Got a lot of front brake in it right there. Got the front tires locked up. And that's something that you can adjust, Adam. You can adjust the brakes front to rear. On these long runs where these tires are really hot and slick like this, you've got to adjust and get a good balance on your brake pressure so you can get on the pit road hard.
Normally we see guys wheel hop like we saw Chase Briscoe, but if he was loose on the track, he might have been putting front brake in at Clint as the run went on, trying to get the balance a little tighter on entry.
Something that you can also do as a spotter and as a crew chief, you're starting to see these guys making mistakes. That's something that you got a rookie driver out there, you better be on the radio telling him, hey, a lot of mistakes on pit road right now. Do not speed on pit road.
To reset this thing, I told you Michael Annette's the leader. Brett Moffitt is second. Myatt Snyder is third. Those three drivers are yet to make this green flag pit stop, and they're going to have to here in the next handful of laps. Fourth right now is Austin Cendrick. He pitted under green, lap 148, so he would take over the race lead when they pit, but we're going to get a caution. Yes, we are. There it is, the sixth of the night, and this time it's for Timmy Hill, who is smoking big time.
Man, Michael Annette, what an opportunity right there. Had some trouble last weekend at Darlington. A little payback time, huh?
And we're showing 6 cars on the lead lap. The last of those is Justin Haley. Make it Ross Chastain. And the first car right now being shown 1 lap down is Noah Gregson.
He might have gotten the oil maybe.
Oh, maybe.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that's why timing and scoring changed, and he dropped down to 6th because he was making that pit stop.
Well, he hit right front.
Oh, 98 with Chase Briscoe. I would say definitely all on the racetrack. Cars are in the wall.
There's a lot going on with 45 laps to go. We'll clean up all the messes when we return to Charlotte Motor Speedway. NASCAR Xfinity Series under caution at Charlotte Motor Speedway. It's our 6th yellow flag of the night. We got all kinds of stuff going on here, fellas.
It was a big one, boys.
Yeah, that changed everything quick.
So this is the 66 of Timmy Hill, who's going to blow up. You're going to see smoke everywhere, and that just hurts the visibility of everyone, right?
Well, visibility, no, I think it's oil on the racetrack. Watch this. As it blows up, you can see there, obviously, with Timmy Hill blowing up, at what happens behind there. These cars are sliding up and hitting the wall. Chase Briscoe, major impact to the outside wall. Ross Chastain as well. Major implications into this race.
Yeah, and look, when you're going, when those guys are going down the backstretch and you see that smoke, you're like, is it a tire rub or is it oil?
Yeah.
And you immediately turn to your sense of smell, because when it's oil, you can smell it before you get to it.
Well, unfortunately, they smelled the paint on the wall on the right side of their car is what they smelt.
Smelt?
On board with Ross Chastain.
22 out front here, man. How's that 30?
Boom, you saw both of them. Just
both of them.
Stay low.
On ice right there. I mean, you literally have no control. The cars just took off. You don't see that very often today's day and age.
And it wasn't visibility at all, for sure, for Ross Chastain. I mean, he just slid up into the wall. What's up, Matt?
And trying to make his way through the smoke there. Now you can see the 1 car of Michael Annette. He is in his box. Clean tear off as well due to the speedy dry and debris on the racetrack. Trying to work on the balance of that 1 car. Solid top 10 car, just wasn't quite there. A little bit extra time there on the rear. And he's rolling out of the box.
All these drivers in a really good position because they had not pitted under green. You talk about Michael Annette, Brett Moffitt, Myatt Snyder. Moffitt, who will be back here racing tomorrow night in the Gander Trucks, won the championship in 2018, and something might be going on there. Oh, man, hate that for Brett Moffitt. We told his story earlier and won that championship a couple of years ago, and unfortunately looks like he's having some problems with that brand new race team. We're down around 40 laps to go, and we've had a little bit of everything at Charlotte tonight in the Xfinity Series, but not short on entertainment, Clint. This has been pretty incredible.
This Xfinity Series has been this way all season long. We've been up here with you, Adam. Man, you're sitting here, you're riding along, long green flag run, green flag pit stops. People are making mistakes there. See Kyle Busch make another one, get caught speeding on pit road, go a lap down. All of a sudden, boom, Timmy Hill blows an engine. You got lead lap cars that are running up front in the wall. All hell's broke loose. I cannot wait to see what happens at the end of this thing.
I guess it's okay to say that, huh, Jamie?
Yeah, I mean, look, this caution hurt a lot of people, but it helped Kyle Busch. We talked about him having that speeding penalty penalty getting on pit road, and his race was going to be over. He wasn't going to have a shot to win this, but this is going to bring him right back into it. And honestly, it looks like Ross Chastain, Chase Briscoe, even though their cars are damaged, they're still going to be able to continue. So hopefully we'll see some good from those guys.
Hey, the other thought here is it helps Brandon Jones because he also got a speeding penalty, was in that same circumstance as Kyle Busch. He brings himself back into the equation, and we're going to have to reset the field here, and I'll be curious to see what drivers pit, what drivers stay out. We've seen some guys on pit road already, but certainly that could be an indicator of how many cars we have on the lead lap for this restart. So tonight, it's the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Tomorrow, it's the Gander Trucks making their return on FS1. And Wednesday, NASCAR's Top Shelf taking center stage once again. It's Charlotte Motor Speedway. Our coverage begins on FS1 following Race Hub at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. It's another 500K race, a midweek special, Clint.
I love all this racing with our sport in NASCAR right now. These trucks coming up tomorrow night. I mean, it's just boom, 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 boom. NASCAR all the time. I love it.
Austin Cendrick stays out, and he was the first car in line when you look at those vehicles that had already made a pit stop under green, so he takes over the race lead. Justin Haley, who's been quiet tonight, going to restart second. And then those guys that came off pit road that had stayed out on that green flag cycle, Annette, Snyder, and Gregson. You got Brett Moffitt up there, and then a bunch of other guys have taken the wave around. All told, we got 13 drivers now on the lead lap.
Huge opportunity for all these guys. I mean, Mike Snyder, we talked about him earlier. He's up there in the top 5. Opportunities, mistakes. You've got to be able to capitalize on other people's mistakes. We saw it right there with some mistakes on pit road. Now you see Austin Cendrick, Justin Haley. Man, those cars have been fast. This is an opportunity for him to punch his ticket.
Yeah, the guy sitting in the best position is Austin Cendrick, guys. Leading the race. That car or team has won 3 of the last 5 here at this track. I mean, look, Clint, you talked about what a great driver he is, and when we talked to him this week, he talked about how much time he spends at the shop, whether it's just talking to the guys or working out. He is one of the drivers that does everything right. Well deserving.
And he finally has what he's been longing for all race long.
Clean air, right?
Baby.
Yeah.
He's won 3 of the last 5, Jamie. Team Penske has. They won 3 of the last 5 with 3 different drivers. The one common thread, the crew chief, Brian Wilson. He's been on the box for all of them, and he's calling the shots for Austin Cendrick here tonight. He's really good at Charlotte.
Looking forward to this restart. Cannot spin your tires. Make sure you got those tires heated up and ready to go.
Yeah, and those Colic cars have been really good on the restart. We saw Ross Chastain able to clear Kyle Busch earlier on the inside, so it'll be all about not spinning your tires and hoping that guy behind you can give just a little bit of help.
Saw a pretty good tire rub on the left rear, Riley Herbst right there. You're going to have to keep an eye on that. Could be another caution right there.
And we've added a lap. We were going to go green with 39 to go, but there were some situations going on track in regard to the lineup. So as NASCAR sorts through that, we add a lap and we'll go around one more time.
You know, Jamie, looking at his car right there, the lettering's off of the left front too. It almost like
had a little contact maybe with somebody.
Definitely.
You know, Adam, a little bit ago, Clint and I got a text from Larry Mack, and I thought he was going to help us out with a little bit of pit strategy.
No chance.
Nope. Send us a picture of a wine glass and a cigar.
We don't need his help now.
Larry Mack's done.
We know what America's crew chief is doing tonight. You saw Matt Mills stopped on track. That was the scoring issue. We've gotten that all buttoned up, and now we are set to go green with what will be 38 laps remaining. I would have thought if Austin Cendrick won at Charlotte Motor Speedway, it would be on the Roval. He's a great road racer, but here he is in position on the oval in the spring race.
One thing to point out here, look at Chase Briscoe. You just saw Ross Chastain in there, still in the hunt. They hit the wall hard. That was damage that would have put a Cup car out of the race, you know, and for sure. And those guys are still in here, and they're going to be just fine. I like what I see with these composite bodies and what they're bringing for our sport.
Yeah, Clint, when we saw Chase Briscoe go by a little bit ago, we thought he was done, right? And they put a tire on it. Actually looks pretty good.
I think 7 of the top 10 are looking for their first career victory. That should make for an interesting finish.
And we've had it's 7 for 7, right, with new winners at Charlotte now?
Yes, that's right.
Could see it.
Well, I hate to bring up the obvious guys, but Kyle Busch is in 10th, and he's pretty good here.
And he's got plenty of time.
And he has plenty
38
of time,
laps.
I think he's doing this on purpose.
It's good for us.
Woo,
Makes for compelling television. Pace
Big
car is
restart
in.
right here.
Green. Still out there. One passenger lane. He's got to push outside. No help with you.
Yeah, Justin Haley timed that out really good, Clint.
And Maya Snyder helped him, right? He was right on his bumper.
Yep.
Whoa, got tight right there. Noah Gragson.
Noah Gragson is driving it, Clint.
Yes, that car is a handful.
Over it.
Haley right in Cendrick's hip pocket. Here comes Gragson inside of Snyder. Jeremy Clements is up there, and so is Daniel Hemrick. Jeremy Clements, though, is one lap down. He is not racing for position in that mix, I don't believe.
But Daniel Hemrick's car looked really good on the bottom right there, guys. It didn't look like it was moving around, and he hooked the line. It's interesting to see all those guys, Clint, in 1 and 2, they're wanting to get to the traction compound, where earlier in the race, everybody on new tires was running the bottom.
You can see Kyle Busch. He's just mired in traffic. Nowhere to go right now. He's just forced to follow.
The Gibbs cars all together, they're all 4 of them racing for position.
Ooh, tight quarters right there.
Herbst.
Always run out of real estate, as you talked about earlier. Jamie off of turn 4. We've seen so much carnage there over the years.
Ooh,
big time slide job.
Time.
If you're Austin Cendrick, Justin Haley, Noah Gragson, you've got to go. You got to get away from those cars. Utilize this clean air and get gone.
35 laps to go. Austin Cendrick is leading. Let's crank it up from Charlotte.
Short. Quarter. Still there. Clear, clear, all clear. 35 to go. 34 at the line. And you got free on exit already 4, so they're up into warm mark all the way to the bottom. They get clear, then they're up in the second lane in the sticky center off. Match at 30, he overdrove his entry. 416. There you go. Get to him, set him up. Hopefully he holds them off for a while. Get back in line here. He's middle down here, bottom of 3 and 4. Even before he fell back to him when he was racing us, he was trying to hustle it back to the gas, you know? Copy. Sound like all the 3 numbers, they're all put in. Copy. Don't overdrive it here. That was real nice. Coming to 30 minutes to go. No pressure out back. He'll come back to you, did last time.
You heard it listening to the radio there. 30 laps to go. Austin Cendrick continues to lead, but it's now Noah Gragson who's in the 2nd position. And here comes Kyle Busch back in the top 5 as he gets around Myatt Snyder in the 21.
So many takeaways from listening to that Crank It Up. The perspective of the spotters, the crew chiefs, relaying the information you need, overdriving the corner, not overdriving the corner, or giving up a little bit. Look at this, boys. Caution.
Getting a report it was the 98 of Chase Briscoe, and there you see it. Boy, what a rough night for him. A pair of penalties, gotten that oil, hit the wall, and now he's into the wall again.
Yeah, I'm going to say that led from what happened earlier.
Yeah.
Maybe a tire rub or a parts failure.
And everybody good here in regard to tires. You have a set, so we could see some pit stops here. We'll get to the strategy in a moment.
Right there.
Yeah, there he is.
I would say you're definitely more than likely. It looks, I mean, you just can't tell. It almost looks like there's, you know, the ball joint or something's broke, but I think it's just another flat tire, a cut tire right there.
Jeremy Clements 14th. He's the first car 1 lap down. He'll get the free pass.
Man, if you're Austin Cendrick, you did not want to see this. He was liking that clean air and getting away from them, and more importantly, keeping Kyle Busch at bay.
Yeah, Noah Gregson's been aggressive on the restart, so this is going to be fun to watch right here.
And had a fast car. He was actually running down Cendrick a little bit, got by Haley, got into that clean air. But going back to that crank it up moment there, where you hear all the intel that they're getting told from the spotters, from the crew chiefs, relaying that information. But also watching Justin Haley get into turn 3, you can see that front end take off on him as he got into the rough. But look at this, man.
A mixed bag.
Oh, yeah.
Stay out or do you pit? And with 28 to go, Kyle Busch leading a bunch of them down the pit lane, Matt.
A lot of interesting conversation between Brian Wilson and Austin Cendrick. They opted to stay out and hold on to that track position. Now the 19 and 18, the Gibbs cars are in. They're coming to get fresh tires to take one more shot at it. You saw the 54, Kyle Busch. He's back in this as well. The best driver ever in the Xfinity Series and here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Fresh tires and an adjustment. Look for this 54 car to come rocketing back to the front. It's going to be interesting to watch it all play out, Adam.
No doubt, Matt. So what wins out? Tires or track position?
Oof.
We're going to find out as we get the restart with what will be right around 25 laps to go. It's Cendrick, Gregson, Haley, Hemrick, and Snyder, your top 5. It's time for a genius alert in the broadcast booth. Before the race, we went as we see it for Clint and Jamie. And look at their talking points. Who can beat Kyle? Who's next to win here? Pit strategy, decisions when it comes to the inside or outside on restarts. You guys nailed it, Jamie.
Well, we got a little bit lucky there, Adam, but it's coming down to pitch strategy and those decisions, whether you pit or whether you don't pit. Clint and I talked about it at break. Last night, clearly staying out was the right decision, but tonight there's a lot more laps left. So, Clint, what do you think?
Oh, I think we said it right there. I think first-time winner. We're 7 for 7. Can we make it 8 for 8 with Austin Cendrick being up front? Can he make it another winner at Charlotte Motor Speedway here tonight?
Who does it? Is it Kyle who's going to restart 6 with fresh tires, or one of those guys up in front of him trying to pull the upset?
We're fixing to find out, boys.
Here's what you like about Kyle. Because he's 6th, he gets to go in that outside lane, and Cendrick lining up there as well. It's been the preferred starting spot all night long, and we will go green with 25 remaining.
I like the fact that he's almost won 100 races in the Xfinity Series as well.
That's not bad.
That's a factor in my decision.
I like all of it. I like everything I see. Austin Cendrick, Noah Gregson's raced a phenomenal race. Daniel Hemrick.
Hemrick, yep.
And that number 8 car, Justin Haley's been up there all day long. We're in for a treat right here, boys. 26 to go. Let's do it.
Noah got a little jump on him right there.
All by himself, too. Yeah, I don't
know how that's going to work out.
Still the formation is on the outside. Austin Cendrick's going to get to the outside of him right here. Prevail getting into 3.
Yeah, these guys know right now the winner into turn 3 might determine the outcome of the race. So they're going to give it
caution.
Oh, it caution's back out.
Already. Ooh, big damage.
My.
That's Austin Hill, full-time driver in the Gander RV and Outdoors Truck Series. Going to race here tomorrow night. You can watch the coverage 8 p.m. Eastern Time on FS1. Running part-time in that 61 Xfinity car, and his night is going to end prematurely.
Big impact for both of these cars right here. To get a replay to see what happened. Lots going to happen on these restarts. Everybody's going for it. Time is now. You got to go.
Yeah, it comes down to the end, and everybody's crew chief and spotter is reminding them that it's coming down to the end and they need to get aggressive.
Hey, and a free pass here goes to Ross Chastain. So put the 10 back on the lead lap. Saw some damage there for Jeremy Clements, who got the free pass last time around. Let's go back and look at the restart a moment ago. And we're on board here with Justin Haley, and that's Kyle Busch out there in the 54.
Definitely hear the wheels spin.
Still out there, half in line
The
with you.
run that Kyle Busch had, those guys, that formation on the outside. What I was wanting to see right there is that front row. Noah Gragson got a good start, being all by himself right there. You could hear Justin Haley spin the tires a little bit, which is probably why that separation was there, but did a good job holding his own all by himself with no help.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you, the fact that Kyle beat him on that restart, he's going to get to line up fourth now, and that's going to be a huge deal on this next restart because he's going to be in the preferred line.
You know he's going to be aggressive. And with that, I remind you of this. 2018, Kyle Busch won Stage 1, Stage 2, finished 8th after getting torn up on a restart. So keep an eye on how aggressive he is when we get this next one.
And guys, it looks like that bottom lane is spinning the tires a lot more than the outside is. So choosing the outside is probably the best option right now where Austin Cendrick is. But look, he's going to have Kyle Busch lining up behind him if he does with 30-lap newer tires.
If you're looking for synergy in a situation like this, the spotter for Austin Cendrick is Coleman Presley. Who was he working with last night? Brad Keselowski, who won the Coke 600. I thought maybe you guys would give me a little love on that. I mean, you just leave me hanging out
here. Well,
the
truth is, Adam, I didn't know who he spotted for last night.
It was interesting. Danny Hemrick got to pit right there. He was in the top 5 running well.
Yeah, he was in 3rd.
So, and maybe he had a problem, but
Joe, have anything for us there?
If he had a set of tires, and I'm not sure where he would have been on that, but he
had to have felt like he had a tire going down.
Yeah, I just thought if he had fresh tires, maybe his thought was, I can't win if I stay out.
Like that.
Maybe I come down, get some tires, and try to make a rally here. So
very unfortunate.
Man, another good night he had going, Clint.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys were talking earlier about not getting to sleep in when you have young kids. His wife, Kinsey, just gave birth to their first child, Ren. So, you know he's not sleeping at all. Hey, a reminder, next up for these Xfinity teams, Saturday we're going short track racing at Thunder Valley, Bristol, Tennessee. We're on FS1, 3:30 Eastern Time. The Busch brothers going to be in the booth. Kyle and Kurt, who've won at Bristol like 100 times,
at least.
That's going to be fun, Adam. You better be ready for that.
Yeah, I better do my homework.
Bring some boxing gloves or something.
What do you have for us, Matt?
Well, Cendrick spotter Coleman Presley laying out and painting the picture perfectly for what Austin has alongside and behind them as far as who will have a pusher, who won't. But he also did say, look, now that we've had a heat cycle through the tires here, this is going to equalize the tires a little bit more of the guys who came and got stickers while we stayed out. So sizing up for some really good drama here on the restart.
And pumping your driver up, right?
That's a good selling, because I don't know if I'm buying it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I don't know how many times. Have you ever had a crew chief stay out or something? Hey,
you'll be just fine.
Pressure's equalized.
Yeah,
you're good.
no problem.
But you got to. You got to find a positive and pump that driver up.
I had a crew chief tell me one time, my #1 job, sell blue sky. I think Austin Cendrick got a little bit of that right there. Just about to close it out for the NASCAR Xfinity Series at Charlotte Motor Speedway. It's been a busy time for these race teams. Last Thursday at Darlington, tonight here at Charlotte. We talked about it this weekend at Bristol. And we're down to 20 laps to go in this one. And if you're just joining us on this Memorial Day Monday evening as we've gone past 10 o'clock in the East, it's been a fun night, and here are the drivers that have won so far this year. Noah Gragson got it done at Daytona. Chase Briscoe, the only repeat winner, Las Vegas, and that last lap pass of Kyle Busch at Darlington on Thursday. Harrison Burton, first win of his career at California, and Brandon Jones got it done in Phoenix.
Just great racing with this Xfinity Series. It's been that way all year long. I hope they keep this up because I love calling these races. Man, they've been fun.
Kyle Busch has helped us a little. He's had some bumps in the road, which put him behind the 8 ball.
His troubles on pit road has helped the entertainment value of this. I don't know if he's doing it on purpose or not, Jamie. I don't know, but it sure is fun to follow right here.
Oh, it's so much fun to follow. But I'm going to tell you, he got put back to 3rd, Clint. So they've changed the lineup here. And I think that could have a big outcome on this because if Austin Cendrick can get out like you're talking about, I mean, we saw how hard Ross Chastain raced Kyle, and it took him multiple laps to get by. There's only 19 laps left. Austin Cendrick could be in a good position here.
What lane do you take, Jamie? If you're Austin Cendrick, knowing that Kyle Busch is in 3rd place and going to be a powerful pusher, what lane do you take?
I'm going to take the outside. And you know what, Clint? Hey, You know why? Because I have no idea right now. That's why I don't think you can choose right or wrong. We've seen both lanes be able to win tonight, and it hasn't necessarily been dictated by the car behind. You know, it seems like the worst thing that can happen on the restart is if you just almost clear the guy at the start-finish line, because then he side drafts you and he has the momentum then going into turn one. So I don't know that there's a right or wrong.
Man, I don't know about that. I think as you crunch, you know, comes down to crunch time right here and the money's on the line, I think the push coming from the back, especially when that push coming from the back could be a guy like Kyle Busch, that's going to make a difference.
Well, the only thing that makes me nervous about that is if you start to spin the tires and then that car starts pushing you, you can't go anywhere and it can hurt you even more.
Did you see those numbers there on the screen? Kyle, 96 career wins. And combined second and third on the all-time list, Mark Martin, Kevin Harvick, 49-47. So those two, Harvick and Martin, as good as they've been forever, right there at where Kyle Busch is by himself. And I looked it up last night. Kyle's got just over 350 starts, 150 of those top twos, either a win or a second place. And here's a cool story. He's got those App State colors, right? App State University. And J.D. Gibbs, his two sons are playing football at App State for the Mountaineers, Miller and Jackson. And we all know, of course, the coach Joe Gibbs, a huge football fan. He goes to many of their games. That's a really cool story, seeing App State on that car and knowing the connection to the Gibbs family.
I'll tell you a funny story about Kyle last week. We were calling the race, Adam, you and I, at Darlington. What an awesome race. And it came down to him and a mistake on pit road, getting caught speeding. I told him, I was like, hey, man, you can't. I texted him after the race. I said, that was entertaining. You made it fun to watch. You know, heck of a show. You can't win them all. And it's such the most Kyle Busch-esque answer ever. He said, I can. I was like, never mind. Just never mind.
Clint, I think the key on this restart is for Austin Cendrick to stay side by side with the 9 car down to turn 3, because we've seen whoever gets to turn 3, that inside does seem to be a little bit better if you can beat them to that point.
And I think I'd rather have Kyle Busch pushing me than be in the outside lane and know that Kyle's pushing Gregson, who's been so aggressive.
That's why I asked Jamie which line do you take, and obviously I think that played a big role in where Austin. Whoa!
He's going to have to protect the bottom too, because Kyle could make it 3 wide on the entry to turn 1.
Tell you what, Noah got a great jump on that last restart. It's going to be interesting if he can hang tough on the outside of here. If he does, he could come off of turn 2 in the lead.
Almost too good a restart.
Yeah.
17 laps remaining. Austin Cendrick leads from the inside lane. Let's listen in to that Team Penske radio.
Launch up top, big push coming, squared tight. Squared tight, still there, squared tight, still there, quarter, bumper, clear, clear, clear. He's 10, half back top. Protect your top, he is clear up top, 3/4 behind, he is clear up top.
Hey, James. Oh, big hit. Maya Snyder got turned right there.
Caution is out for the 9th time.
Dang it. Maya had such a good run going right there in the top 5. Just come off of turn 2 there. Got hooked in the right rear. You can see the tire rub right there. Unfortunate.
These cautions haven't been good for Cendrick. He had the big lead, and then we get the yellow. And now, I mean, he executes the restart perfectly. And this.
Justin Allgaier was just to his outside, and it looks like he might have moved up a little bit.
Man, I don't know. It's pretty tight racing right there. I don't know. Did you see that the push from Kyle Busch actually put Austin Cendrick in the lead there, Jamie? Did you
Well, Clint, I did observe that. What I didn't expect to happen, though, was for Noah Gragson to come out in second. I thought that Kyle would be able to hang on to him, and that worked out perfect, I think, for Austin Cendrick. He does not want to have Kyle Busch in second.
Let's watch this restart. Big push right there, and you can see it. Those cars, as soon as they connect, they just take off and put Austin Cendrick back in the lead. One of the things that I'm watching right here is Noah's going to have to be careful not to get too good of jump. You said it right there, Jamie. He got a pretty good jump, beating back to the line right there, all by himself. I mean, he is flirting with disaster right there. They can't call you on that if you're not careful.
Hey, I noticed Cendrick, with the hand out the window and motioning Kyle. Is that just nonverbal communication and every driver knows that's going to be the case, or was there work being done on a spotter stand to set up their plan? How do you guys think that plays out?
Well, you see that a lot on restrictor plate racing. You know, when we go to Daytona, Talladega, that's such a big thing of having. You see this guy, man, everywhere. That's that smoke you were talking about, Jamie. But you can see that on those restarts at a Daytona, Talladega type of racing. That's what you saw right there. And by the way, that guy on the outside, Noah, he can't see that. So that's why he was able to do that on the bottom line, give those hand gestures of when to go. He's waiting for him. He starts motioning him up, gets that tap on the back, and go, Cat, go.
A run of cautions late at Charlotte, but it just means we're going to get another restart with right around 10 laps to go. Don't go anywhere. We're back on FS1 after a break. It's been eventful for these Xfinity cars at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and we've still got 14 laps to go. Opening stage, great racing. Kyle Busch, Ross Chastain.
Oh, great racing. Sure thought that was going to be the story for the whole rest of the race, and boy, were we in for a treat.
What a battle those two guys had, Clint, on numerous restarts. Jeffrey Earnhardt.
It's a very expensive jack.
Yeah.
That's illegal, by the way. You can't take that with you.
And then they hate it.
Oh. They've got two of them.
Jack is destroyed.
Here we see
Back
Kyle
at it again.
Yeah, Kyle telling him, hey, I'm here, and please don't race me like that in turn one again.
I would say that was part 2, but it was like part 8 or 9 of these drivers getting together. Kyle would eventually get the lead from Chastain in lap traffic. He won the first 2 stages, and Kyle has led the most laps tonight, 81 out front for driver 54. And then this, Timmy Hill blows up and it takes out contenders.
And it really shook up the race. We had just fresh off a green flag pit stop. A lot of mistakes were being made on pit road, coming onto pit road, all over pit road. That put the caution out, got those guys that made mistakes, went a lap down, got their lap back. But big, big consequences for the 98. Getting in that oil, knocking the wall down, as well as Ross Chastain got into it as well.
A lot of penalties tonight. When everything shook out, Austin Cendrick was leading, and then this, Myatt Snyder into the wall after contact with Justin Allgaier, and we are ready for the restart now. It's going to be 12 laps to go. Cendrick again in the inside lane, push from Kyle Busch.
This,
yeah, the 11
connected now. Still such a strong push on the inside that Austin Cendrick's going to get back out in front of him. Whoa. Riley Herbst getting loose on the inside right there.
Gregson again pops up to second.
That's a great restart for both of those cars. Asking a lot out of them. The tires are getting old, wore out, start wheels spinning and things like that. You got to manage the runs from behind, the pushes. Great restart.
Yeah, you saw Noah Gregson immediately go to the outside. He knew he wasn't going to be able to pass him in the dirty area, so immediately he chose to run a little higher than him in turns 3 and 4.
And remember, Kyle does have fresher tires here.
But the pressures have equalized.
Well, at least that's what the crew chief was selling, right?
I tell you what, though, this is huge run right there. Dove it down on the bottom. If you're Austin Cendrick, what do you do right here?
Oh, are we going to get a caution? That was Allgaier that popped the wall. Kyle Busch going for the lead. He got Gregson. Here he is inside of Cendrick into turn 1.
Move. Drove it down in there, slid up in front of him. Kyle Busch back to the point.
He is strong.
Yeah, I mean, the new tires just made such a difference right there. You could tell that Austin was having to back the corner up a little bit, and Kyle was able to sail off in there and clear him, slide up in front of him and clear him.
Allgaier was running 7th when he popped the wall, makes his pit stop here. You wonder if he didn't lose a tire after that contact a while ago with Snyder.
Yeah, I would think probably had some a tire rub after that contact and that bidding there.
Big run for Noah, getting down into turn 1. Holding it tight. He's going to slide up in front of him, make the pass.
Yeah, and that was his spotter saying, gas it up, slide up in front of him.
You could tell as he slid up there, man, wow, Austin getting cleared again.
Austin was going to run the Roval chicane right there.
Great racing right here with these two.
That was the Brad Keselowski dance he was doing. Brad was doing that last night trying to break the draft. Big trouble. Spinning out down the front straightaway. Riley Herbst, we're going to get our 10th caution of the night.
You know, Clint, we talked about it with Eric Amarola in Cup qualifying. That AstroTurf or fake grass has saved 2 cars now from being destroyed.
You can see the damage right here on the right front. if I'm guessing, in the way we saw that car out of shape down low, I'd say he got loose underneath somebody and slid up in front of or into him.
Boy, you're running 155, 160 miles an hour. You get turned. It's tough to hang on to it.
Actually, Justin Haley got in a wall in front of him.
It's just that track narrowing up right there. It collects so many people.
Man, just unfortunate. Racing hard, 3 wide right there. Justin Haley got out, high. He can't take his foot out of the gas. If he does, he's going to get passed by both of those cars. Hits the wall and collects those guys underneath of him, Brandon Jones and Riley Herbst.
I want to go back to something. Kyle Busch pitted at lap 172 and got tires. The same for Harrison Burton, who's in the top 5. But you remember when the 8 of Daniel Hemrick came down at lap 177, and we were like, why did they pit? Was something wrong? There was nothing wrong. They just had a set of tires left, and they said, we're going to lose them. We're just going to leave them laying. Let's pit now and utilize those tires, and he's going to restart in the 5th spot. He could be a player here.
And a tough call, to pull your car in, running in the top 5, which, by the way, needed a top 5, man. This is the best run we've had all year long. You mean you're going to pit? You're going to take me out of here? So, but to see that prevail and be a good call and put him in a catbird seat going into these last final laps right here, great call. Neat to see it. The other thing that I see is the poise from this 20 car, Harrison Burton, just grinding it out, man. That we saw that car start off the race, and again last weekend, kind of out of shape, looking a little bit nervous as he goes through the corners. Just been grinding it out right here, and finally in 4th place. It reminds me a lot of his old man right there.
Absolutely, that's exactly what I was thinking, Clint. He has not had a great car, but he stayed out of trouble. He's made really good decisions all day, and now he's running the top 5. Adam, when going back to Daniel Hemrick, that decision, and Clint, talk with me here, that decision is made because Daniel Hemrick probably said, hey, my car's going away. I don't think I can hang on for 27 laps. And then the crew chief says, well, we have a set of tires. You want to take a chance? So they probably went about that and both agreed on it. And these cautions have helped him. He's been able to stay out of trouble because typically you get tires, you get caught up in trouble, but he's been able to stay out of trouble. Got a good position right here in this last restart.
You said it right there. Cautions breed cautions. It's as simple as that. And with every caution that comes out, it's another opportunity for Daniel Hemrick and his team. And
Clint, you talked about Justin Allgaier's luck and how that goes in waves. You think about Daniel Hemrick's start to the season, no luck. Everything went against him. Tonight, he's having a little bit of luck, and he deserves it.
And here's a driver that has never won in the top 3 series of NASCAR when you talk about Daniel Hemrick. And hey, this caution, a good break for Justin Allgaier, who had gone a lap down. He's the first car in that situation. He gets the free pass. And, Harrison Burton, his mom, Kim, is so emotional. And typically you see her on the pit box, right, just wearing it out because she's so nervous. But because we have limited people to the track, she can't be there. So this is what she's tweeted out tonight. Now Jeff, I'm sure, is calm because he's won at Charlotte so many times.
And she is on
he's
the
on
chip.
idle.
Yeah, that's just the Burtons. That's the Burton family. Jeff is never off of idle, and she is literally on the chip. I'm not sold that Noah Gragson, Austin Cendrick are down and out on this thing. This is still another opportunity to stack him up and pounce on this Kyle Busch on a restart.
Top 10 opportunity for Tommy Joe Martins. Cool story. Some of his friends and family back in Mississippi last week, they actually did a tailgate at home prior to the race at Darlington. They are fully embracing being back. And he's as nice a guy as you'll ever meet. Went to Ole Miss and actually was a journalism major and wanted to be a broadcaster like us, but has gone down the racing road.
Boy, we didn't have that in our future, Jamie. It was one or done for us. This didn't pan out. We were not going to be journalists.
Brandon Brown out of Virginia looking for another top 10 finish. They had a mechanical issue at California. Outside of that, they've been top 15 every week. And one great thing they did in the offseason, went out and got Doug Randolph as a crew chief, a veteran who knows his way around any NASCAR garage.
Life's all about people. You surround yourself with good people, they'll make you look good.
You're living proof of that, Clint.
Appreciate that, Jamie.
He surrounded himself with good people tonight.
You can't say that.
Sorry.
Those are comments for off air. The red light's on.
Well, we've talked about restarts, Clint. If you're Kyle Busch, which lane are you picking here? Who do you want behind you?
I don't know that he's really worried about that right now. I don't know. It's going to be this. I said it. see Noah really warming his tires up, being aggressive. That's what you got to do. You got to get some heat in them things. You got to get a big jump right here. If you're Kyle Busch, you chose the outside because you have a teammate in Harrison Burton behind you. But if you're these two kids that are hungry and know that the one opportunity to get around Kyle Busch is going to be on this restart, they're going to have to go.
4 laps remaining. A shootout at Charlotte to finish it.
Huge jump for Kyle Busch. It's like Austin may have spun his tires a little bit, but the tires, the advantage, the tires, you know, they're going to prevail in that restart. And then you put somebody like Kyle Busch in there.
Brandon Jones in the outside lane, moving to the front, and he pops the wall. Gregson around. Oh my goodness, what a hit for Tommy Joe Martins.
Total carnage. Saw Noah Gregson get loose underneath those cars. The rest was history.
Justin Haley.
I can't believe there's not more damage to that car. That was a massive impact he had.
Yeah, you wouldn't think it would be driving. Justin Haley hit a ton as well.
Saw the safety workers there. Brandon Jones coming to pit road. How about this? We had 5 cautions in the first 155 laps. We've had 6 since.
Cautions breed cautions. We see it time and time again, especially on a track like this. Grip level is marginal. You get those runs on the bottom, you get them on the top, you've got help from behind. Everybody's pushing hard. Well, Turn 2 is a treacherous place on a restart when it's, you know, comes down to the end of these races.
Yeah, Clint, we've talked about it all day long. Noah Gregson's car has been nervous, right? I mean, and then you get down to the end and you just give it just that little bit extra, and he just got loose and it came around on him.
Yeah. Harrison Burton was on his outside, got into him, got in the fence. A lot of cars right there were tore up. A lot of cars.
See the AMR safety team there tending to Justin Haley, who's out of the car. That's good news. And you see those safety workers, and immediately my thoughts go back to the end of the Daytona 500 when they did such an unbelievable job working with Ryan Newman after that horrific crash.
I tell you, Clint, he took a big hit. You can tell that he's having a tough time getting in the truck there.
See him get loose right here, moving up the track, across that seam. It's just, the rest is history. Not a lot of damage out of Harrison Burton. I think he'll be okay right there. You can see Justin Haley, his car's. Man, I don't know. You think that's a lot of damage on there. You see these 2 cars right here. Man, that was a shot right there. I think it knocked his hands off the wheel. He hit so hard right there.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I mean, sometimes we see these wrecks and you think massive impact, and from a driver's perspective, it wasn't that bad. And there's other times they don't look bad on TV, and they really sting.
Well, I hit one last night that was.
You're stung. Yeah, you're stung.
And I can tell you right now, that one did too.
Well, at that point, you really are just along for the ride and at the mercy of what's happening around you. And you see the hands up there. Why not hang on to the steering wheel in that situation, Clint? Everybody kind of does that differently.
Everybody, I was going to say it. Everybody has a little bit different perspective and opinion on that. I've always, just try to drive. I keep driving. I guess it's my natural instinct, just trying to drive that thing out of it, no matter what the case may be. But honestly, as we keep beefing up the front suspension in these cars, the drag links and everything else on them keep getting stronger and stronger. Again, I hit that wall last night, and I saw it. If you saw me when I got out of the car, I was kind of rolling my wrist. It got caught in the wheel. As it hit the wall, it kind of snapped the wheel, and that's what you got to be careful of and why they take their hands off the wheel. The IndyCar drivers, you see those guys with the rack and pinion steering, the dirt late model guys, that steering is a lot stronger, and it'll break your wrist.
That Tommy
Get your thumb hooked in a wheel. Just a lot of things can go wrong right there if you're not careful.
That Tommy Joe Martins hit was just unbelievable. And watch outside. Harrison Burton, I mean, he's almost got it sideways in that right rear with a kiss, and somehow he straightens it out. And right now, I mean, it looks like he's going to restart in the 4th spot.
Yeah, it seemed like the wall is just kind of straightening right back out. I think as long as there's not a massive rub right there, I think he could survive right here. Whew, that's a scary hit.
So we're under caution for the 11th time. We'll have an overtime finish at Charlotte for Xfinity teams. Cendrick is second behind Kyle Busch. A lot of words to describe the racing at Charlotte tonight. I think my vocabulary is starting to get a little lean because, I mean, we've seen it all, and now our 11th caution that will take us to an overtime finish. And it'll be the 6th time we've gone to overtime with the Xfinity Series at Charlotte. And I still cannot get over Tommy Joe Martin's in a 44.
Artie just keeps coming up at different angles of that hit, and they're all the same, man. They look.
Credit one overtime. Kyle Busch outside lane, Cendrick inside. It's Burton and Hemrick row 2.
Ross Chastain, he got back up in the mix right here.
22 is going to be there.
Cendrick hanging tough.
Oh, he slides out in front of him.
Kyle lost on a last lap pass last weekend at Darlington, on Thursday, I should say. And we're coming back to the white flag. Cendrick out front, and here comes Hemrick on fresh tires.
He didn't let him have the bottom that time, but there's going to be a big run for Kyle Busch coming down the front straightaway here. 1 to go, boys.
1 lap to go. That's the white, and the next flag will end the race. Whether it be the caution or the checker, Cendrick leads it up. Here comes Kyle to the inside.
And Daniel Hemrick right here.
Look at that draft, the side draft for Kyle Busch, trying to get the top spot back. He's got it off of turn 4. Here comes Kyle Busch. Career win number 97 in the Xfinity Series comes at Charlotte for Rowdy.
I don't know who you give the credit to there, man. Great effort on both of those drivers.
Unbelievable. So much fun to watch.
Cendrick to pull the lead back away from Kyle Busch on a restart. Unbelievable. And then Kyle Busch battling back and passing him on the last corner. Wow, what a race, boys.
You could see Austin Cendrick sailed it off into turn 3. You saw how loose he got just trying to hold on to Kyle Busch's door.
Did everything he could possibly do. Drove it off into turn 1 right there. Got tight. Gave up the bottom right here to Kyle Busch. Man, the side draft was on going down the back straightaway. I really thought, man, if you're Daniel Hemrick, you're thinking, oh, come on, boys. Come on, boys. But Kyle Busch drove that thing off in there way, way deep. Took the final spot and won the race.
And another heartbreaker for Daniel Hemrick. He's second for the 6th time in his career. No one has had more runner-up finishes before getting their first win, and so we hope it comes for him soon, because he certainly has been competitive in the last couple of weeks, shown a lot of speed.
Needed that, man. Got beat up first right off the bat at the first few races. Really beat up, and to come out swinging right here, hats off to him. Great.
6th spring win for Kyle at Charlotte, the 9th of his career, and that too is the best all time.
He did it, man. He earned it.
Ross Chastain finishes 4th tonight. How in the world did that happen?
Boy,
what a recovery.
Yeah, he was all over the place.
Allgaier back to 5th.
I know, I just looked down and saw that. Unbelievable recovery for him, especially for not having a dash, no tack on pit road.
And he was in a wreck.
Yeah.
Brett Moffitt,
maybe a
top
couple
10.
of them.
Moffitt was 6th. Great job by him. Brandon Brown 8th. Another top 10 for Harrison Burton.
Yeah, Myatt Snyder came back to finish 10th. No right front fender on that car.
Really nice job by a number of drivers, but none of them had what it takes to beat Kyle Busch tonight. He's a winner again, Matt.
17 years ago yesterday, Kyle Busch began his Xfinity career, ironically, right here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. A 2nd place finish. Tonight, the word would be recovery and execution. The speeding penalty, you recovered, and then you got the lead back on the last lap.
Yeah. I thought choosing the outside was the right way, but obviously it wasn't. I don't know. But those guys put up a whale of a fight tonight on restarts. I was really surprised by that. I guess I'm not very good at it anymore. But overall, I really want to thank M&M's, but more importantly, I want to wish the 2020 class from App State congratulations on obviously getting their diplomas this year. It's a little different, I know, but hopefully this lift your spirits a little bit anyways. We won for you. We took all the rest of them big houses down tonight, so it was pretty cool to score a win here in Charlotte, as always.
Now, those graduates are going to be beginning their career. Your legacy in this series, 97 wins, 3 away from 100. What means the most to you about what you've recorded during your time in Xfinity?
I mean, I would say the biggest thing is just working with so many different teams, so many different crew chiefs, having the opportunity to win with a lot of them, if not all of them. And just being able to go out there and work with a lot of cool guys, a lot of people that have helped me along the way and gotten me to this point, but a lot of great sponsors as well too over the years. And again, another shout out to M&M's and Interstate Batteries, Ream, Snickers, Skittles, Rowdy Energy. It's nice to be able to get all those guys in victory lane here in the Xfinity Series. Appreciate them helping me out and these final 5, 6, however many races I need to get to close it out for getting 100.
What an impressive display of execution on that final restart, and to take it back and get win number 97.
And it's the third win of the year for Joe Gibbs Racing by 3 different drivers. And here's why, Samantha. Wow, Hart Racing with that last lap, 97th win. Great job, babe. And Samantha, get his shirt and tie ready because he'll be in the booth with us Saturday at Bristol. He and brother Kurt. And what a finish. You said it, Clint. Final lap, and these guys are going at it.
Boy, they sure were. You know, listen to his words right there. Joe Gibbs Racing. Look at the different crew members, the different crew chiefs that he's won with. The benefactor of having a Kyle Busch in your race car is just that. It's all across the board. It's not just the trophies, the accolades that this car and this driver has won as a team. The people that he's been able to develop, that company's been able to develop underneath having a driver like that, it's just, that's something that you literally is priceless.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the key to that whole program is that they've been able to take guys, make them crew chiefs, engineers, shot guys, tire guys, and move them up through the ranks. And it's such a confidence builder when you can be on that team and have the success of Kyle Busch's driver. Look, I just am curious, do you think he's really going to quit at 100?
Man, no. I don't know. The only thing I can say is one way or another, we need to take Justin Allgaier's tack and give it to him every week. We definitely need him to speed on pit road from now on.
He doesn't need any help.
Let's go back to Matt.
Well, the fun meter was certainly pegged for the fans watching at home from your seat. What could you have done different, Austin?
Oh, man, it's hard to tell. I'm just really proud of this team, the Snap One Ford Mustang. You know, Brian and I were talking about it on the radio. You and I talked about it on the drive to the track today. This was our turning point last year. You know, it's probably one of my worst races last year, and to almost beat the best in the business on worst tires. I never lifted into 3 until I knew I was done. But really thankful to be driving the Snap One Ford Mustang. These guys obviously worked really hard, really proud with what we unloaded with. It's definitely a lot of unknowns, so all in all, a team effort. But I want to win so bad.
He's still looking for that first win on an oval, but what a great kid and great display of performance behind the wheel tonight in that double deuce.
Yeah, Matt, Austin did a great job, and so did you. Thanks for all your hard work down there doing it solo tonight. So Kyle Busch gets his 97th career victory at Charlotte Motor Speedway. He'll be racing again tomorrow night when the Gander RV and Outdoors Truck Series at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Brett Moffitt going to be there as well. He got a career best 6th here this evening. And then Wednesday, the Cup cars are back. 500K from Charlotte. Coverage both nights on FS1 begins at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Xfinity teams are back on track Saturday from Bristol. We'll see you at 3:30 Eastern Time with Jamie McMurray, Clint Boyer. I'm Adam Alexander. So long and good night, everybody.